doing it through our bought and sold loyal.
All right, everybody, let's get started. Welcome to the show. Hi, how are you? So glad you could be here. I'm a little more awake than I was before, but only slightly. So I didn't have a nap or anything like that. I just rolled in last night hot from the Nerd Halen gig at Yamava and got in about 2:05. Cats woke me up intermittently between 3 and 5 a.m. and then I had a coma for about 2 hours, and then I've just been at it. And I have to say, I have often said, and welcome to the show, by the way, it's Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. Don't forget to give a thumbs up right out of the gate, because you know you're going to like what we do here. You know you're going to have a good time. Yeah, honestly. And, oh my, am I Poppy? Hold on, someone said I was Poppy. And that's because I have the other thing from the other show open. All right, yeah, there we go. Hopefully I fixed it. Okay, so... couple of things. The patrons, thank you so much. Patreon.com/HalSparks. And of course, those that super chat, those that subscribe, those that bit, those that super chat and that help. And also just the blah, blah, blah. Just the thumbs up. Okay, hopefully the clicking on the mic will die soon, because it takes a minute for the thing to catch up and get over its little weirdness from that the service that I used to get guests in from this morning. I just forgot to close the page. It's my fault. Anyways, here we are. I saw running through in the chat somebody talking about Matt Gaetz effing with a page. I did not. An actual page at the Capitol, I guess. That'll be an interesting story. We will get to that. Charlotte, thank you so much for the super chat right out of the gate. Thanks for the bits in Twitch, everybody. Yay, happy birthday to my Prairie Dream Ellie, born 23 years ago today. Imprinted her, and she imprinted me. Oh, that's sweet. Cool. Looking at the chat is starting to populate. We'll let everybody kind of gather in for a second. Where's Nestor? It's a good question. Who's Nestor? What is Nestor? Why is Nestor? Was she too old for him? I think so. Charlotte Cordell, is that the name of the girl? Oh dear. Oh dear. Because honestly, let's see. Latest. There's a whom. Okay, Rebecca Jones. The story here is, if I may bring this over, oh crap! It went over to the wrong page. Hold on one second. Go back. I hate when it does that. It's such a crazy little thing. Sometimes my computer just brain farts and doesn't understand what's going on. I will fix that in just 1 second. But the word is that Matt Gaetz is believed to be having an affair with his press secretary, Joel Valdez. According to 3 independent sources, Gaetz' office and his wife have not responded to requests for comments. This is not Gaetz' first affair, nor is it his first with a man. The idea that, again, like, if Matt Gaetz turns out to be bisexual and all of his just asshole behavior is based entirely on the fact that he's closeted and uptight, and you're like, dude, you do realize if you just kind of came out, you'd be fine. Like, you're at a certain point, like, nobody cares. He could just be himself if he was a Democrat. The torture these idiots put themselves through, I will never understand. So, I mean, it's machismo, and it's also power structures, and it's Florida, and his dad was a politician, and he's a second-generation power broker, and there you go. This is a tweet from Rebecca Jones. Breaking, very big breaking. That's very breaking. It's very breaking. Matt Gaetz believed to be having an affair with Joel Valdez. Here it is. I've had some strange conversations with Matt Gaetz' former people over the last few months, including the person who hosted his watch party. Cameras everywhere, Matty. This is obviously, I'm going to take they meant this as a negative and not that they were just impressed by his ability to do, Matt Gaetz can go eat a big pile of dicks. Golly, I honestly, he's been in an open relationship with men before, so he's already out. Is he? I don't think he is. I observed their intimacy in a moment they thought was private after our debate, but didn't want to speculate without proof. This is Rebecca Jones saying this. One, I never stated he was gay. He has a relationship with men and women. I'm not outing him. It's common knowledge here. For the record, it might be common knowledge in an area, but it is not common knowledge. I don't think Matt Gaetz is openly bisexual. This is Lois Romano is saying, this is irresponsible unless the staff are accused of impropriety. It's also irrelevant. It isn't if this is what they're manipulating him with. If they're using it to manipulate him, and he's allowing for that, and he's being dishonest with, and he's backing these anti-gay bills, it becomes relevant because he's compromised because of it, and unnecessarily so. Hiding something that's an open secret or hiding something that is not necessary to hide in modern society just to power broke in a particular area means he's doing it in an opportunistic way, not because he fears for his safety or whatever. No. If he's voting for these anti-gay bills and he's bisexual, and then it's a different ball game altogether. This is not about someone's, respecting someone's personal privacy, especially if she's managing to see their intimacy at different, whatever that means, at different times. So, but that's not the other page we're talking about. What about the teen girls? No justice for them, I guess. Well, that's the other thing too. Is that what's his? Here's what I would say. Gaetz's thing, and this, I'm not going to psychoanalyze his potential bisexuality, but I will say this: that Gaetz himself seems uniquely incapable of true human interaction. Anytime we've watched him on any of these videos, there's not a level of like intimacy and understanding that seems to show up in a lot of his stuff. And if he's bisexual for hedonistic personal reasons, just because he likes people who worship him and he's just enjoying the physical contact, that's not even, I would say, it's certainly not gay, because that means you are capable of loving someone of the same sex. It's certainly not straight, because that means you're capable of loving someone who is of the opposite sex. This is simply like someone who's almost sociopathically hedonistic. And again, anytime someone is dosing someone and making them incapacitated, and allegedly that's what's happened with him, but I'm just saying, in general, when people do engage in that kind of behavior, it is not about connection. It is not about their feelings for another person or their, any of that stuff. It is about, there's just sort of a vicious nature to their getting their own needs met. It has nothing to do with gay or straight. The same thing, I feel the same way about like pedophilia or pederasty, or those are not crimes of commitment and connection. That is a hedonistic act on someone who cannot make their own, cannot give consent. The same thing if someone's unconscious, for example. That is not, I don't even think that qualifies as a fetish or a kink. Fuck that. The person is out cold. No. I'm a bit of a hardliner on things like that. If you're soft around the edges on that kind of shit, you're going to be very upset at my show, because fuck that. Yes, the argument of power, but I think it's much simpler than that. I think it's just pleasure, just self-involved fucking pleasure at anyone's expense. It doesn't matter. Maybe there's an act. Sorry that the mic is still crackling. I'll see what I can do. Hold on one second. Here you go. Wish me luck. If it crackles for a bit, usually it takes a while and then it settles. So hopefully, I apologize if it's being weird that way. It's also hot. Okay. So, this is snap, crackle, pop. I'm sorry. It crackleth. Okay. Sorry. When it's about, hold on one second. Nah, if I pull the mic, it'll be weird. Hold on. Hopefully it'll usually after a little bit, it'll settle from that anyways. Hi, hold on. Let me bring you guys up. Hi, chat room. Hi, guys. How are you? Welcome. Those of you that are on all the sites. Hi, Facebook people. Hello. How are you? Hi, YouTube folks. Hello. Hi, Twitch people. Yay. It's better now? Okay. It seems to just heal itself after the page has been off for a little while. It's odd. But it'll take a while to catch up with everybody, and who knows if it's equal in there. Yeah. Is instinct love? No, it is not. And, I'm not one of those people who believes love is just a chemical storm. I think that's just silly. It's Darwinistic horse shit. Personally, that's my own feeling about it. I am HO. And yeah. Let's see. Spiders, Jazz, please be patient with the crackling. Yes, thanks. Be patient with the crackling. Hopefully the crackling will go away, and it will be for that idea. Thanks. Yeah, I put this on this morning and I forgot I was wearing it, and then whatever, it was fun. Anyways, here we go. So lots to cover today. Lord Almighty, heal my third. There's so much to cover. So much. So settle in, enjoy yourself, pass the show around. Now's a good time to go over to TYT's chat room and let them know we're live. I just did. I just went in there and wrote, like, I'm live at Infotainment Wars. So if you're coming over from TYT, also, you're going to be, if you like them, you're going to be very mad when I tell you that voting is good. And you should do it. So there. Is it Friday yet? No, it is not. We're midway through. We got a lot to go on. But, honestly, it's hunka burning out. Thank you very much. I'm having a good time. Increase the buffering size. It really has to do with the website I use to bring in guests to the show, and it just gets funky. It's yeah. Anyways, let's do it. Let's do some let's do some show here, because where do we start? Okay, so one of the most fascinating conspiracies that I hear, and welcome to House Sparks Mega Worldwide. One of the most fascinating conspiracies that I've heard from the right is that Democrats would rather run somebody else for 2024. We'll get to that in a second. And that they, very possibly, planted the documents at Biden's house and his office to try and broom him out. So, some people are calling it the uniparty. I've got a couple of examples to show you today. And this floated as somebody's just fart air fantasy, which is just goofy as shit. But somebody just like, well, I wonder if the Dems are just trying to get rid of him because his poll numbers are so bad. Meanwhile, his poll numbers are going up. Inflation is coming down, like right when this is all happening, so it doesn't make any sense. And he's still doing better than Trump was doing ever during this time. So let me remind you of ever. So the person, they were like, dear God, Trump's so popular. Well, how will we ever beat him? Biden, ever. He's, 45, never hit 45. So we know this. Now, I've been scouring and looking around at who is, I don't know, carrying this bucket of shit and, in this weird relay race of nonsense. And Ron Johnson is on Fox Business. And look at the title of this. Are the Democrats throwing Biden under the bus? Is his idea. Now, never mind the fact that there's a crucial, I have a problem with this conspiracy that is singular. There is one reason why I don't know why the right would even bring this up. And the main thing is because if it's true, then Biden is completely innocent. And we're back to just Trump hoarding documents and fighting NARA and whatever. Never mind the fact that both Biden and Pence have been completely cooperative. Both of them, after all this stuff with Trump's documents, went, we should do a sweep and make sure we don't have anything. And when they found stuff, they were open with it and they gave it back. And the same thing that Pence is doing, which is total contrast with what is happening with Trump and what happened with Trump. It wasn't the having of the documents that was the crime. It was the lying about it and fighting giving them back, claiming he did classified, all that bullshit, which is nonsense. But like the contrast between what Biden and Pence are both doing and what Trump is doing is very stark. But the idea that the Democrats planted this shit on him would literally mean he was not culpable in it at all, which he'd be off the hook, even with right-wing viewers, because they're not saying this to you and me. They're saying it on Fox. They're saying it on Newsmax. They're saying it on Golka. They're saying it wherever there's a fucking mic. And I don't get it. Why are they rushing to, maybe there's some idea. It's kind of the same thing when they have this real hard time with Biden's not making any of these decisions. He's like a puppet or a marionette, and he does whatever the left wants him to do. And then all of a sudden the left wants to get rid of him. Or that Obama and Hillary are really pulling the strings, and he's just a puppet, but he's also evil because he's a dough-headed old man who's being controlled. Like, get your fucking conspiracy straight. Stick to something. Jesus. At least be cryptic like Q so it makes some fucking sense. Good Lord. All right, here we go.
Senate Homeland Security Senator Ron Johnson. Senators
who looks like you just caught him he just looked up from catching his dick in his zipper. Why so sad, Ron? Why?
Good to see you again. Your
That's not true.
reaction to the story that classified documents were found in the former Bryce.
Growing concern as detailed Hunter Biden email on Ukraine reads like classified briefing.
Vice President Pence's home in Indiana.
Dun, dun, dun.
Hello, Elizabeth.
By the way, for the record, detailed Hunter Biden email on Ukraine reads like classified briefing. For the record, Hunter Biden spent more time in Ukraine than Biden did, than his father did.
I hate to say it, but I'm actually agreeing with Senator Dick Durbin. You know, for those of us who serve in Congress, we go down to the SCIF, the secure location. We have to leave all of our electronics behind. There are people standing right there. Did you leave all your electronics behind?
Yeah, you're not elected to national office. You don't have the right to declassify stuff, fucko. You're not president or vice president. In the case of the Obama White House, Obama signed an executive order allowing the vice president to classify and declassify documents, which technically speaking, by the way, would include Mike Pence, because not only did Trump not rescind that order, meaning that Biden lost that ability, but it also kept that ability for Pence, because Trump's a fucking moron.
We check out the classified material. We make sure it's...
Yes, and they let us have it for a week, and we're only allowed to check out 2 at a time. If we talk while we're reading, they go, shh.
Check back in. It just never leaves the SCIF. And so for, I guess, the securities to be so lax in White House, both Democrat and Republican, it literally is catching all of us off guard. It's surprising all of us.
You know,
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead. Finish. Sorry.
Yeah, are you worried that maybe along the way that like some documents like classified notes about your time, I don't know, on the 4th of July in 2018 in Russia, and the reports on that might leak out at some point? Is that the concern?
I mean, but there are differences. You know, in President Trump's case, he had the capability to unilaterally declassify information.
No, he didn't. And also, he did not. For fuck's sake, ability or not, let's be abundantly clear. Trump in no way, I don't give a fuck what Kash Patel says, made any moves whatsoever to declassify that stuff. And here's how we know. Because for a fucking year in his discussion with NARA, he never brought up, I declassify these things, they're mine. And since they're declassified, you guys could just grab another copy off the fucking servers there and store that with your own shit. I declassified. And never brought it up. After this, like when they were hit with the subpoena, they delivered a red envelope wrapped in tape, which is how you're supposed to handle classified documents in this particular environment, outside of any of these things. You seal them up. So they basically, if they fall off the boat, they float. So you can get them back. They did that. His lawyers returned documents to NARA in classified form, meaning he did not declassify those items, which means he did not in any way offer some sort of blanket declassification. Okay? Didn't do it. Did not fucking do it. Didn't do it. He didn't do it. He only came up with that excuse after the search and seizure warrant. And his idea, like, how do you know I didn't do it? That's the thing. I'll tell you how. Because there's paperwork that's involved. You can't just magically wave your hand, because there's got to be a paper trail of some sort. Again, and the example I give is the president, during Trump's time, he and Kash Patel are in a room full of classified documents. Trump keels over and dies right there on the spot. Kash Patel's the only one in the room, and he's walking out of a room carrying a box. The president died, and they went, what do you got in your hand? He goes, it's just a bunch of stuff. He said it's declassified. How do we know? Well, he said it before he died. He said, yeah. He said he did. How do we know? Well, he said it. That's why. That's exactly why. Are you out of your fucking mind? It's just stupid. So, anyways.
Vice President Pence, obviously, wanted to have this looked into.
Yeah, he totally did. He wanted to have it looked into, and by it, he means his home in Indiana.
It certainly seems like you could have your office packed up and moved over, and I've got a lot of records as well.
Yeah, Biden wasn't that way at all. Yeah, Biden, it's totally Machiavellian. He did it on purpose. He's being very sneaky, and you can tell by his interactions with NARA and with the FBI and the DOJ. He's like, yeah, go for it. Make a special counsel, look into it. Cool. Unlike Trump, who again fought it for over a year, never brought up that the items were declassified ever at that point until after the search warrant came through and they found shit. And he's like, oh, fuck. Yeah, no, all that stuff, all of it. I just magically said when I walked down the stairs that it's magically declassified.
I think with President Biden, it's Senate records, it's Vice President records, and I think what's really interesting.
Also, by the way, for the record, Senate records. If there's stuff out of the skiff from the Senate, yeah, have at it. However, when he was vice president, what do you think the chances are that because he spent time in the Senate and he was looking at things from a couple of years ago and he went, hey, can you get me this information from 2013? Because we're looking at what's happening pre and post, Russia invasion, that kind of shit. The idea that he would have stuff based on the timeline, like who were we talking to at that point? Because there was a guy who said this, get me the records on it. It's like, it's not weird at all, even during his time as vice president, that he would go back. Yeah, sorry, the mic pops are getting you. I'm sorry. Hold on one second. I will see what I can do. Give me a moment and I'll solve it. Check. Hey, checking in one. Excellent. Okay. Check. Check one. Okay, hopefully that fixed it. Give me a sec. Hopefully that did it, guys. Let me know. Stopping. Oh no, now it's working again. It woke up. Okay, now it go. All right, I fixed it. Okay, I did not. I muted, unmuted. We're good. All right, here we go. Nope. Check. There we go.
Is this email that's now being reported about on April 13th? This is 3 days before Hunter's business partner Devon Archer meets with Vice President Biden in the White House before he goes to Ukraine. And it's just laying out all the information that we would get in, oftentimes secure briefing on a country that we're traveling to.
Well, this would be against the
It's also everything that was in the fucking news.
law, right? All right, so this email from Hunter Biden's laptop, Miranda Devine found it. To your point, it goes to Hunter's business partner, Devin Archer, about a week before then Vice President Biden was going to travel to Ukraine. It was about how to cash in and make money off of Ukraine. It's classified information about Ukraine, Senator. It's got 22 detailed bullet points. And so wouldn't it be against the law to have this information? When you read the email, it sure...
By the way, this looks like shit from the Rand Corporation. We've seen these reports before. They're posted on fucking line.
It does sound like a classified brief.
It does. It sounds like it. It so sounds like it. It sounds like it's so professional. Like, I thought he was all cracked out. I would think it would said it there were to be like, wouldn't they type his like coughs in?
Briefing.
Well, if it was classified, yes. What I can say about what I read is, again, we get these scene setters all the time as we travel overseas. This is a lot.
Yeah, when's the last time you went? Was it just that time when you went for the July 4th trip to Russia with no note takers present in your private meeting with Vladimir Putin, which you still won't talk about what was said?
A lot more detailed, has a lot more information than anything I've ever seen in a scene setter. So it wouldn't surprise me at the time that might have been classified information. But again, what it
at the time. Now it's stuff you'd see in the New York Times.
Lays out is exactly how the Bidens profited off their family name. I mean, they
No, it fucking well doesn't.
They were basically, Hunter was laying this out for Devin, who was going to be meeting with his father, going to be meeting with officials from Burisma, basically showing them, you pay us millions of dollars, this is the kind of information you're going to have access to because of our connection to the vice president. I mean...
By the way, I was talking this morning about Apple, my Apple phone when I was in China. If you're going to any place, any foreign country where you're going to spend any length of time, and especially if it's a place that has like sketchy politics, get a fucking burner phone. Nobody's that stupid. Just, of course you're going to have one. Your real one from home, as soon as you land, if not before, shut it off and leave it off.
Is just sleazy. It is corrupt.
It's apparently well-informed and material to his job.
But this is what Chuck Grassley and I have been warning the American public against for 2 years. But the main...
Yeah, that's that 1,000-paper fucking thing that they put out, the report, which was just all of Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson's little papers all like stapled together.
Mainstream media is basically ignored.
Yeah, because there's no there there.
And just shrug.
Email from Hunter Biden to Devin Archer, April 30th. And by the way, citation needed. Again, if they're sourcing this, because the picture is of a laptop, which does not exist, by the way. And by the way, I had no idea the laptop was so clean and came with a mouse and also a notepad in case you were taking down. You were like, what crime was I criming? I've forgotten my crimes. I hate doing that, Charles. Charles, I've forgotten my crime. Well, I did write it down. I typed it in, make a real note, a physical note. You're just a Luddite. All right, get a little pad. Next time you go to CVS, get me a little notepad I can put beside the computer. And I need another mouse because these trackpads are beyond me.
Hunter's email, to your point, was about Ukraine oil and energy. Ukraine...
Yeah, he worked for Burisma, dumb fuck.
Burisma paid Hunter nearly $1 million a year to sit on the board. Is it striking that the president and his family are trying to profit off of foreign energy deals, including with China and Ukraine, as the president now is undercutting U.S. energy?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, because China was going to replace America's oil and gas industry, as is Ukraine's oil and gas. Are you out of your fucking mind? You do realize it's Russian oil and gas that's being cut. You realize that China is an importer of oil and gas. Fuck.
Well, it's sleazy. Not only...
It's totally sleazy. Just because it's sleazy. Sleazy's a good word. You don't have to actually... It doesn't have to mean anything.
Is it striking? It's sleazy. But, Elizabeth, I have to point out again, there were news reports, stories written about Biden Inc. well before he became vice president and certainly before he became president. But the media just completely ignored it, which shows how corrupt...
Yeah, you know why? Because he didn't have like 9 fucking golf courses paid for with Deutsche Bank loans bought at a time when nobody was buying fucking golf courses because they're a dead end. And basically, the best thing you could say for owning a golf course in the United States at any given time, if it's not one just for the use on television, is that it's a money laundering and I would argue a space for corrupt businessmen to talk freely.
And complicit most of the mainstream media is as well.
So you and Senator Grassley are asking for the White House to release the visitor logs to the president's properties, his think tank. Secret Service said it had visitor logs to the Wilmington home. So what about the Senate records at the University of Delaware?
Oh, this probably all has to be looked into.
Yeah, probably ought to look at that. How about this? We'll give you those. They'll come up with those. You give us a recording of your private meeting with Putin. We'll get it translated.
This investigation is widening. Again, I just think the way the president has handled this and his team is just bizarre.
Yeah, it's just so bizarre where they found some stuff and called NARA and said, here's some stuff. Go look at anywhere else we have where there might be other stuff, and if there is any, return it. Yeah, it's shocking. I can't imagine. And by the way, in point of fact, in deference to Ron Johnson, someone actually doing their job when they found either they've made a mistake or something's misplaced or they find something that shouldn't be out, actually following through and doing what you're supposed to must sound bizarre to Ron Johnson. And the reason behind it is, oh, sorry about the popping. I don't know why that is. It's going to be weird for me. Is it the audio on the video now? Just being a jerk. I'm sorry. But the reason Ron Johnson's going to have a hard time, why it seems sleazy to him is that nobody does anything without an ulterior motive. He has to be complying with the law and the rules because of he's got some ulterior motive.
If you know you've got some classified documents, you should do what Mike Pence apparently did was, well, let's search to see whether I might have something inadvertent.
That's exactly what Biden did. That is exactly what Biden did. It is precisely for fuck's sake.
In my possession. In terms of President Biden, this doesn't look like inadvertent possession here. Yeah. This looks like a pattern he had for years, taking classified information, just not taking good care.
Look, Mike Pence just didn't have access. So whatever, he was just as bad as Biden on the jump? Right.
I mean, a garage is not a skiff. I mean, the New York Times and the Washington Post.
You sure about that? I mean, he was able, Obama gave him the right to classify and declassify. If Mar-a-Lago is a fortress, why isn't Biden's garage a skiff at this point?
They're both reporting the Biden team pushed to keep all of this quiet before the midterms so it would not trigger.
No. They just handled it. Somebody, this alleged Hunter Biden. Yeah, well, that it's an email is the center of this. Because, again, the email they're showing, I don't buy it for a fucking second. There is no Hunter Biden laptop. Prove me wrong. What I will say, and that's why it says sleazy. It's why it doesn't say criminal. It's why it doesn't say anything that's material. He uses the word sleazy for a specific reason. Because there's no definition of it on a legal basis.
The president's own special counsel criminal probe. But then the president says he had, quote, has no regrets they were in his garage and house in Delaware. We've got more Senate and House.
No, he said he has no regrets about how they handled it. This is just silly.
Democrats expressing alarm, Senator. You're talking to Senator Tester, Joe Manchin, Tim Kaine, Ro Khanna. Nancy Pelosi is now going negative on a Biden 2024 race.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, they're folding. I think they're after him. Yeah.
Final word.
Well, is this the Democrats finally throwing this president who deserves it, just throwing him under the bus? Possibly. They may have made that political calculation, say, well, this would be a good thing to divert everybody's attention against the high energy prices, gasoline prices, inflation. Let's get rid of Joe Biden this way. I don't know. I don't understand.
All right. Again, Nancy Pelosi liberated and loving it. They're asking her, is age an issue? Yes, because he would be the oldest person running for president ever. Does Pelosi think Biden is the only one who can beat Trump in 2024? No, I think we have other what? Of course there are other people that can beat Trump. Trump's a fucking mess.
And their political calculations, but this whole story.
We have other great candidates when the time comes. Totally true. If Biden decided to not run, which is the other thing, like, oh no, if Biden decides not to run, we're basically just handing it to Trump. Imagine the fucking headlines if she just said that, because that's the alternative.
Story is just bizarre.
Senator, but it,
Bizarre and sleazy. Sleazy, bizarre, and sleazy, bizarre.
when you look at the timeline, and we've talked about and reported on it, the Hunter Biden, the Biden family deal making, it intersects and syncs up. It syncs up with the classified document record.
No, it doesn't.
Mishandling of it by the president.
Notice, that was quick. Timeline of U.S. mishandling of U.S. secrets in sync with Biden family deal making. No. Alleged deal making, of which there was none. Tony Bobulinski was mad because he was trying to peddle influence through Hunter Biden and failed miserably.
It jibes with it.
It totally jibes. It's a jibey thing.
It does.
It's jibey and sleazy.
So interesting about this April 13th, 2014 email, because
Which isn't real.
all these things happened with Burisma. Again, meeting
No, they didn't.
with the
I'm not going to. There is no point in taking any of the emails that supposedly come from the laptop seriously. There none. Even if 80% of an email is real, 6 sentences could be added to the fucking thing, changing the entire meaning or, creating room for allegations like this shit. And dickheads like him know there's no metadata they can track down through these things. So he says stuff like sleazy and he could just skate on it because it's not going to actually turn into anything. None of the stuff that's allegedly from the fucking hard drive named laptop, is ever going to see the inside of a courtroom. Yeah.
the vice president in the White House, the appointment of Hunter and Devin to the board of Burisma, all this stuff happened in April of 2014. It's way more than a coincidence.
It's weird. It's way more than a coincidence that Russia hacked Burisma right before Trump ran for office, and then again. So
got it. Senator Ron Johnson, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. It's so great. The other, by the way, like I said, he's not the only one who thinks that. Where is it? Is it this one? Yeah. So every time Jack Posobiec comes on, I don't know about you, but he looks like Oleg Deripaska's fucking kid. Does anybody else see that? Hold on. I'm going to bring up a picture. Yeah. Is it just me? That doesn't. All right. I have no evidence that he is the biological son of Oleg Deripaska, but I also have no evidence to the contrary. Yeah, it's every time he comes up, I'm like, is that an old picture of Oleg Deripaska? Seriously. But this is the same thing. Jack Posobiec on the Uniparty boxing out Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for the new Democratic frontrunner. That this is all a plot. And again, the Uniparty means rhinos and Democrats working together. Two legs, the same pair of pants. This is where they all just like human centipede with rusty trombone. And
Jack, I got to ask you, there's so much breaking news around these investigations. The executive secretary of Joe Biden, tell me about her. Tell me about what we know. She's lawyered up with one of the biggest defense lawyers in town. We want to make sure we make all these people famous. She's going to be a major personage in this.
She's going to totally be a major personage
in this entire drama. Who is she and why is she important?
Look, Steve, what we need to understand here, what everyone needs to understand.
All right, what do I need to understand? You guys, you didn't know you needed to understand something. You're about to understand what you need to understand.
And not only the executive secretary level, but also through the White House at all. So when I came on here 2 years ago, I explained.
Hold on. Also through the White House at all. Right.
That there was a shade war going on between the Kamala Harris faction and the Joe Biden faction.
There's a shade war. Oh, well, shit. I'm sorry. I thought it was something serious that actually amounted to a fucking hill of beans. A shade war, really? Is there have they gotten to the prank phase yet? Are they hashtagging each other? I'm concerned this will turn into a beef, and you know how those can go.
That has shifted because the rug has been pulled out from under their feet. The bottom has fallen out of
the bottom of what? I mean, like inflation's going down, but the bottom of unemployment?
the Biden administration, and the White House has now turned into a battle royale.
Uh-huh. This is the argument. So, again, I don't know why Jack thinks this is a fucking smart thing or whatever, but the idea is that it's a battle royale, that Kamala Harris is worried she's never going to get to be president because she won't be able to go into the next run next time. This I don't understand. Politically speaking, she's a very young woman. She's got plenty of time. Fucking Hillary could run again. She'd still be younger than Biden. What are you talking about? It's so weird.
The establishment's coming in and now maintaining order.
I thought the establishment already had order. I thought he was already a fucking marionette.
They're getting rid of the chief of staff. Ron Klain, gone. He was the longest serving Joe Biden true believer. He's out. Who are they putting in? They're putting in their buddy from Bain Capital, Jeff Zients. So Jeff Zients is coming
Bain Capital. That's Mitt Romney's
in, and Bain Capital, just like all these other firms, and you know as well as I do, Steve, they got a couple of guys on the D column and a couple of guys in the R column. So
no, they got almost all guys in the R column and a couple of guys in the D column just to act like there's balance.
Mitt Romney's the R. This guy's over on the D side. He worked with Obama. He worked with Hillary. He comes in now, and he's going to, quote unquote, right the ship. This is the uniparty coming in to box out Joe Biden and Kamala Harris of their own administration and clear the decks for the arrival of Gavin Newsom.
I see. So this is Gavin Newsom's Machiavellian play, because if Gavin Newsom can't run in a year and a half, a year and change, his window's gone. I just don't know how he's ever gonna be able to, because I mean he's what, 6 years older than Biden at this point. I honest to God, this is just, again, also, this would mean that Biden is innocent of everything they accuse him of. It's so odd. And look at this. Look at the look on his face. This is someone who's aware that they are talking out of their ass. You know what I mean? When somebody finishes a statement going, I saw the game a minute ago. The fucking, I watched to the end. Cowboys won. Like, you know that look? You're like, asshole, you didn't watch the end. The Cowboys, they pulled it out. No, they didn't. That's look at his fucking face. Hey, Jack, can you come on the show and just say there's a big plot to push, Biden out and Kamala Harris so that Gavin Newsom, can we set that up so people can, we can stir that pot a little bit? Yeah, no problem. Do I have to mean it? Yeah, CSL, they're like writers on a shitty show. Even Bannon's not buying it.
When you talk about shade war, it's now become a battle royale. Where does the administrative state in the deep state come into this? Have they?
Yeah, no, I mean, they're everywhere. I mean, it is the deep state. What do you mean, where do they come in? They run the whole fucking show. They planted the documents. They told Biden they put the words on his podium saying he has no regrets so that they can plant other documents later at Pence's house so that they can undermine Trump's position so that they can run. I don't know. I'm running around. I'm not privy. I'm not in the writer's room. I don't know how it works.
Chosen a side, or are they mad?
What? Why would the deep state have to choose a side? I think the idea is that there are no sides, right? That's the whole purpose of this mythology around the deep state and the fucking establishment and the Illuminati while you're at it. It's basically like, this is like garage band Illuminati is what the establishment or the deep state is. Why would they choose a fucking side? They run the whole show. Isn't that the argument these dickheads make all the time? What is this?
Gaetz thinks that they're trying to form the field right now. You see this in the Pence situation.
Completely
Walk me
agree.
through your assessment.
Yeah, they're trying to broom Pence so that, again, so what? So that Trump can, it makes Trump look less bad so he can run? Because essentially, if this is the plot, the way it plays out is they did it so that Trump could run again. Ugh. Thank you, Manchita. It's yes, it's a software thing in there. Hold on one second, but I will make sure while we're at it. Audio 44K 40. I'm going to switch to 48K all of a sudden, see if that fixes it. Just for the sake of it, if it doesn't freak everything out, watch it freeze the whole software. Just in case. It's this leftover like whenever I start with that software going, that window open, it just always screws everything that I don't even know. Let me know if that sounds worse, because it probably does. So, all right.
Of the deep state.
Look, we went through this yesterday on Human Events Daily. I know the congressman has occasionally mentioned that he listens to the show, so I don't know if he was listening to me or he just came to that formulation from his own sources, but that's exactly what I think is going on here. Steve, understand, the classified document scandals that are going on right now, the reason that you're seeing it happening to people like Trump, like Biden, Hunter Biden's probably going to be wrapped into this. Of course, you got Mike Pence now, but of course, Mike Pence, I don't even think Mike Pence is his own wife's first choice for a top candidate. But what you're seeing is the administrative state coming in and reminding the American people who's really in charge.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Yes, the administrative state, it's the bureaucracy. They're reminding the president and the former vice president that there are laws that everyone has to follow and an oath you take when you take office that requires a certain level of quality behavior. You know, like a puppet master would. Jesus Christ. Like, this is like, I suddenly pity Netflix executives who have to hear pitches like this from uncreative dickheads like this dude.
They're coming in and saying, you're not in charge. Your leaders aren't in charge. Your elected
Well, in the case of Trump and Pence, they aren't. Just
leaders aren't in charge. It's us. We'll tell you who you're allowed to vote for.
Again, look at his fucking face. Is that good? Did that? Steve, did they buy it? I said, yeah, I said that. I said, you know, I was like, yeah, they're the people who are really running things. Is that good? Did they buy it? Is that powerful enough? Am I the next Alex Jones? How do I make this happen? When do I start selling lead-lined dick pills and pancake batter in giant tubs with beans attached to this, 2 gallons for the price of 1? Do I get a free my pillow out of this? Is that possible? And there's just kind of like these weird pauses where they're like, all right.
You're a former naval intelligence officer. Given what you've seen in this
Yeah, see, he spent a lot of time looking at his own navel. Okay. Oh, yeah, that is lint, and you have to be a real professional.
FBI situation, do you think the FBI and we didn't even
Do you ever run into the FBI guys on a boat?
argue this when Hansen was exposed?
The band? Excuse me. They didn't have to do gigs for exposure. They were hit makers from day fucking one. Bop.
Back in the 80s. Do you think the FBI has been compromised? Not just an individual, but do you think they're
Of course, by the deep state. Why are you even asking me this, Steve? The FBI has been puppeted by the Illuminati military-industrial complex establishment for fucking 4 decades. And that's why they put the fix in with Biden alone. And the only person who they couldn't get a hold of was Donald Trump, who was going to come in and get us out of Afghanistan and show those guys. And then he didn't, but they let him golf. So that's how they controlled him, I guess.
There may be systemic compromise of the FBI by a foreign government, sir.
Steve,
Totally.
you've got this all over Washington, D.C. If you think it's just the FBI, you haven't been paying attention. You've got Iranian compromise all over the State Department. You've got the CCP all over DIA and elements throughout the IC.
Yeah, we don't even, I mean, it's at this point, it's not even a U.S. government anymore. Yeah. Anybody who takes an oath to like that, that's not even a flag. Like if you go up to the American flags or even the Bible, if you go up to it when they're taking their oath of office, tear off the cover. It's Mao's little red book. It's just they just make a big version that can pass as a Bible.
They've got people in there. In fact, at one point during the Trump administration,
Notice he didn't bring up Russians and them having control over anybody.
CCP was recruiting members of the DIA who were part of the hashtag anti-Trump resistance to come and work as CCP agents for them. So this idea that
Yeah. And if, by the way, if you don't automatically believe that, you haven't been paying attention. Okay. Like, can you watch a little more Don Jr. and get with the program?
we've got FBI agents and FBI officials that are double dipping, I mean, this has been going on for a long time.
Sure. Yeah, it happened. It's been going on so long, even before China opened. This is pre-Nixon.
Within our United States national security agencies. That's why the entire thing, and Steve, you and I have talked about this.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time, you know, when we're mutually masturbating each other, just how lonely this world is.
The whole thing should be uprooted, rod and stern, and you need to go with the
armor-piercing shell, tip of the spear, rod and stern. Rod and Stern are two guys who used to. Never mind, it's a long story.
Full church committee to decide what we are going to do with our.
Why would you have? What good is a fucking church committee if the entirety of the Congress and everybody is already on the take? Dumb fuck. I mean, who's the least trustworthy person you could meet? The person you trust the most. Like, honest to fucking God. Like when, at some point, people are just like they're seeing how much Alex Jones got sued for, and now they're like. Count me in.
National security.
Do you like gladiator movies, Jack?
Pretty state, because we are supposed to be a country with an intelligence community, not the other way around.
We're not supposed to be an intelligence community with a country? Is that... Wise words, young man. Wise.
Last thing, where's your reporting going on this? You at Human Events?
Yeah, where did, since you're making it up and just pulling it out of your ass, reach up in there and see what else, what the next log is, Jack.
Daily and with Charlie Kirk, you guys been ahead of the curve here. Where's your reporting?
No, you have not. They're not ahead of the. They're fantasizing. You shithead. This is all fucking garbage. I mean, I guess technically speaking, if your idea of reporting is just catastrophizing and making shit up.
Going on this.
Look, where we're going is we're seeing that Joe Biden, they're putting him out to pasture. Kamala Harris, they're shoving her back in the barn. They want.
So is it the agricultural secretary that's on the take then? It sounds like it. I'm just saying.
Gavin Newsom in.
Who knows nothing about farming. I don't know what they're thinking.
Mike Pence, he's getting kind of like a slap on the wrist. But of course, Mike Pence sort of self-reported because he's a dork. And, I wasn't in the room alone with a woman in those classified documents. No, not me.
It's his attempt at comedy because Mike Pence's wife won't allow him to have dinner alone with a woman that isn't her. And Steve likes it. Steve's like a moment of levity in an otherwise giant swill barrel of shit and nonsense.
He'll be in his punishment closet later today. But Steve, what we need to understand,
I think that's some sort of I don't think that's a GIMP reference. I think that's some sort of like puritanical Christian joke.
Understand is that there's only one candidate, only one man in American politics.
Only one man. The king and the land are one. We must return the sword to the king, or the crops will die.
That for 35 years has been standing up to the globalists and the establishment of a worldwide global order, and that man is Donald J. Trump.
What? For 35 years? What in the ever-loving shit? That guy, if it wasn't for global financial trade, that motherfucker would have folded his tent in the early 90s, right after his dad fucking died and left him the company. Are you out of your fucking globalists? Dude was jet setting with Epstein. How in the hell? Look at, even Steve Bannon is like, that's a reach.
Jack Posobiec, how do people get to you?
How do they find your blah, blah, blah? Like, I don't stick around for the fucking weird thing. He always does that at the end. And by the way, I'm just saying, Stephanie Miller, you could learn a thing or two. It's just common decency when someone's, on your show in the last few minutes. Just kidding. That they really, I don't even know how to fucking wrap my, they really believe this. They think, again, that the deep state Illuminati establishment fucks or whatever aren't, and according to Jacko here, they're setting up Kamala Harris too. That the puppet, the criminal mastermind rigging this whole thing is Gavin fucking Newsom, who, by the way, is lovely. And unfortunately for him, in world politics, doesn't really have a Machiavellian bone in his body. He might need to get one if he's going to run for president, but I haven't seen it yet. So he's hoping that he can skate by on Carter energy, just well-meaning do-gooder. Gavin's a solid dude, but he's not. He didn't call someone. Hey guys, it's Gavin Newsom. I'm almost done with this whole California thing, and I'd like to run the whole show. And so let me know if I can arrange for any. Do I have any classified? No, I don't have any access to classified documents. Can you guys get some? Yeah, I don't know. Something from 2003 be good. Maybe, I don't know, mid-90s. Stuff that's not dangerous if it gets out. It's still got the word classified on it, but, yeah, I don't know. Some, like a menu from a social event that, they didn't, that'd be great. Just drop it off and put it in. And you want me to drop it? How the fuck am I supposed to get in his garage? It's locked. Hello? This oh, God. This is so stupid. And I'm going to enjoy every second of it, by the way. Speaking of so stupid and something we're going to enjoy every second of, and I'm being facetious because there's no fucking way. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you this really odd thumbnail. This is the inaugural episode of Don Jr.'s podcast called Triggered. And it even says Triggered Episode 1. Exciting. And also, he's hawking gold. So, let's see. Add a comment. You suck. I think that'll work. Anyways, this is his head superimposed on his dad's fucking body, which makes it look like teeny tiny hands running the family. Why is his face photoshopped on his dad? I don't know. That's really fucked up. No idea. And the name of it is Triggered, even though the point of his thing is that he's going to trigger the libs, right? It's like somebody who's like known for owning the libs, naming their show Pwned. It's so fucking odd. Yeah. Anyways, and if I may, I think Ron Filipowski put this up. I didn't get a chance. I did have a chance, but I didn't watch it on purpose because I wanted to watch it with you guys. But Ron Filipowski, there he is, bless his heart. He had a clip of Don Jr. touting his show, and apparently he said there's like a hot mic moment. Let's see if I can find this real quick, because there's so much shit in here. It's hilarious. The panic. Nick Fuentes got kicked off again. He was on for like 8 minutes. This might be soup. Getting close. I'll find it. Hang out. Oh, this shit. Hold on. Almost. This. I'm just gonna slide this over with you. By the way, look who's back on fucking what's his ass's thing. I mean, like, this is the same nonsense. Same shit. I thought I was gonna be killed. Get the fuck out of here. Oh yeah, she had heart disease from chronic high blood pressure. That's what killed her. That was, by the way, a comorbidity, and they're like, she didn't die of COVID, she died of a heart attack. Meanwhile, is this the Sweating Jr. about to give us by having a bit of a weird hot mic moment? Here it is. So this is
the insanity going on.
Hold on, guys. Here we go. Hi guys. Hey guys. Here we go. This is. I want to see what he's talking about. He says, Sweating Jr. about to go live for his debut podcast tonight, having a bit of a weird hot mic moment on the promo.
Your long form, and man, God knows there's a lot to talk about with the insanity going on this week. So go check it out. Now it's 7 minutes live on Rumble. Go click the link in my bio. It'll take you right there, and we'll have some fun. Be good, guys. Yeah. Your long form, and
Don, do you want a water? Yeah. He's fine. He's got whatever Diamond has. He's fine. All right, here we go. This is it. Oh, and a countdown, just like, all right. He's been watching my pro streams to know how to do it. This is how
people have been deplatformed.
Oh God, hold on.
For the lies and the nonsense that's been
the lies and nonsense and the nonsense and the guys and the nonsense. Hold on. Here. Triggered with Donald Trump Jr. Bow, wow, wow, now. Why do they not have? There's no theme song. Triggered like that. How come you can't even? There's literally no sound.
Welcome, guys. Welcome to Triggered with Don Jr.
Hey, guys, thank you very much. That's not a real plant, guys.
I'm so excited to be here with you guys. This is unique to me. Actually, strangely enough, probably the first time I've been actually nervous in a long time.
First of all, podcasts are not unique to him. As a matter of fact, he might singularly be proof that podcasts have jumped the shark.
It's just so different. I'm used to kind of getting up on a stage with a mic and talking to...
Yeah, he's more of a live kind of a guy, you know what I mean? Just, I'm riffing, I'm doing my thing, and obviously no one will sit for a fucking podcast from me, so I'm alone in this tiny little room. This looks like cable access. I'm just saying. Dude's supposedly a fucking billionaire. He's launching a podcast, and the motherfucker...
10, 15,000 people,
or 1,500, 800, 300, I don't know, a wedding that your dad crashes.
It's not a problem, but we're at a unique place in our country, something that's probably never happened before, or perhaps it's always been happening and we haven't been exposed to it as much. So
Yes, it's always been like this. You've always been here, Mr. Torrance. You were the caretaker here, Mr. Grady. You chopped up your wife and daughters with an axe, and the sons of failed one-term presidents have always had post-presidency podcasts.
Super psyched to be doing this.
Bro, come on. We're eventually gonna have a set. I've been talking to the Daily Wire. I saw the money they offered Steven Crowder, and I was like, fuck, dude, get me in there. Blaze.
On a platform. We're here, again,
On a platform.
because we're at a crossroads. I'm on Rumble because it's one of the few platforms that's out there that
Yes, it is out there. It's way out there. It's not as out there as BitChute, but it's on the fringe.
hasn't
Yeah, he looks like he's beside one fern with Zach Galifianakis.
censored people. They actually believe in what so many of you, all of my followers, believe in, that notion of free speech.
Okay, look, I know I have people who follow me on Twitch and on Twitter specifically, but I don't call you guys followers. This douchebag actually thinks he has followers. Like real, not just people who click follow, but actual Jesus.
notion of freedom that's so important to America. We've seen what happens on the other platforms. You know, every one of you knows someone that's been in Facebook jail, oftentimes for telling the truth, probably most of the time. You know, the CDC and others.
This is getting good. This is solid. It's and this episode's only an hour and a half long. There is no fucking way we're sticking this out. But
owe all of your conspiracy friends a serious apology.
no, they don't. No, there were no adrenochrome factories under the fucking White House, unless your dad put them in, and that's why those children were freed at the end of his term and never before. And why wouldn't he free him at the beginning? That would be my first question for you. If there were children in adrenochrome factories that were, I guess, getting ready for Hillary and had been put there by the Biden White House, why'd your dad leave them there all 4 years?
For the lies and the nonsense that's been spread.
Lies and nonsense and nonsense. Did I say nonsense? I've said nonsense. Nonsense is a sticking word. Nonsense.
People ask, hey, Don, why aren't you on YouTube? Because I don't want to.
Yeah, they totally do. Hey, Don, why aren't you on YouTube? You know, doing makeup tutorials or like a masculinity video on barbecue.
Build up a following, take the time to do that, get to know you guys, and wake up one morning and they cancel me because I'm upset that a dude beat chicks in sports. I don't find that to be the great, incredible accomplishment of the left. So I'm excited to support a platform that actually stands.
Okay, so Rumble's in partnership with Truth Social, and he just can put a show on. Who gives a shit? Partnering? Get fucked. You're just posting it here, asshole. You won't get any traction anywhere else.
Stands for and believes the things that I believe.
Which are?
Rumble's been unique in that perspective.
No, it isn't. There's BitChute and fucking, what's that other one? Something like Star. Blah,
will be the only platform that didn't throw Donald Trump off that I can think of.
Look at that. Right at his notes. He's
the only one that believed in the ability for even the president of the United States to have free speech. I know that's a hard concept to understand, that maybe the leader of the free world should be able to have.
He's not alone in this room. There's probably 3 people sitting there, including Kimberly, I think. However, this is a dude who is very uncomfortable talking like this in a rhetorical format to a camera, and I think that's my favorite thing about it so far.
Have a platform to say what he's thinking, but if you've been watching for the last few years, you understand that that's not the case.
No, I don't. What's not the case?
So I'm excited to be able to be here to talk.
Yes, I'm sure you're excited to be able to get into a car and drive to your, I don't know, garage.
Talk about those things, to talk about the stories that other people.
Yeah, talk about the stories. Why tell a story when you can just talk about the story? You know what? How about this? Talk around the story. That's even more engaging.
People aren't willing to talk about, aren't able to talk about.
Because they haven't heard the story. They've just heard people talk about the story, but around the story.
Have been bought and paid for to make sure they don't talk about.
Yeah, or don't even remember that they talked about it already and are saying the same thing over and over again. I mean, right there, that's 3 good reasons why.
And I'm also probably the guy that'll take it a little bit further than most.
Well, I'll wear my chastity belt. I unlike your dad, you're not a star, so I think some may object.
What's really interesting is we live in a
I'll be the judge of that.
kind of an interesting time in that.
Yeah, it is interesting that we kind of live in an interesting time. It's kind of interesting, and that the Chinese say, "May you live in interesting times," and it's interesting that they would think that that's interesting.
It's been so ridiculous.
Yes, it's interesting that it's been so ridiculous. I agree.
So extreme.
Extremely ridiculous. You're right. This show that you're doing right now is extremely ridiculous. Please continue.
Level of censorship, the way people have been deplatformed. And I'm not just even talking about big tech.
No, of course not. You're on Rumble. That's not that you couldn't legally call it big tech.
Again, everyone has their friend that's been in Facebook jail or demonetized from YouTube. It's been happening.
You know what I like is that you inherited one of your dad's greatest traits, which is saying something and then starting at the top and saying the same shit again to fill time. It's bold, and I'm glad that someone is carrying on the tradition.
And yet, we're actually at a point where I truly believe conservatives are actually winning the culture wars for the first time in recent history.
And you're here to stop that. All right. Apparently.
Now, you got to understand, that's from a lens of what we're up against, right?
Yes, and that's from a lens on a Sony camera.
We are up against big tech, a juggernaut, a multi-trillion-dollar industry.
And you're doing it from a cable access studio on Rumble. Good luck.
An industry that is decided that they are going to be all in to be the marketing department of the radical left. We'll talk about that a little bit because I'll get into the...
Yeah, well, I mean, you know Elon Musk better than I don't know if this is it's a backhanded plan that he's got.
News, and I'll get in my take. For me, I think I have a unique...
Oh, for fuck's sake. Stop selling someone on the show when you're already doing the fucking show. Do the goddamn show. Look, I know I don't pitch my shit the way I should, and people should like and subscribe and give a thumbs up and blah, blah, blah. But for fuck's sake, get on with it. This is a 90-minute fucking episode because the first half hour is him, like, telling you why he's doing the episode. Holy fuck. Is it just him? Hold on. I'm just chit-chatting through this. Like, here, I'm gonna scroll through because there's no fucking way. Does he have a guest? Half hour him yammering at camera. 42 minutes. Does she come and try to, like, someone come and try to, oh, okay, so he's got a clip at least. He's going to play a clip from the World Economic Forum. Of course he is, because, can I just say for the record, Glenn Beck is not a billionaire. He's a millionaire. He's a multimillionaire, no doubt. And his studio is nothing to sneeze at. I'm very, very jealous. You guys know this. It's tens of thousands of dollars, if not a couple $100,000 worth of gear and stuff, but not much more than that. These days, you can buy, 30 TVs at Best Buy, stack them and mount them around the walls and throw a fucking logo on them. And for all practical purposes, you've got that studio. This asshole apparently is the son of a billionaire. And look at this shit. What the a plastic plant, a shitty little, like, cable access chair, and his mic is, they're using the mic off the camera. They have to. There's got to be a shotgun on there that they're just pointing at him. Because that, I don't know where the fuck that Shure mic is pointed. It's like pointed at his fucking right sideburn.
Kid meltdown. So I can't tell which is worse, that or what's going on in the world, but as a dad in that spot, perhaps it was. So, but let's talk about one last thing before we get into the kind of the Q&A component. Let's talk about what's going on.
Oh my God, he's already at the Q&A. He's 47 minutes of him yammering about whatever the fuck.
About the World Economic Forum in Davos. You know the billionaires that tell you...
Yeah, yeah, obviously your dad's not one, but I'm familiar.
You should be eating bugs.
No, I've never met a billionaire that tells me I should be eating bugs. I've eaten bugs before.
Well, they eat, probably $1,000 meals.
You wouldn't know, because you've never been around a billionaire. Not a real one, anyways.
The people who travel to Davos.
By the way, his dad's supposed to be a billionaire, and he eats fucking fish delights from
Switzerland, a beautiful ski resort in the Swiss Alps on
I hear. I mean,
their G4s and G5s. The G4s are for the low rollers there. The G5s and the globals for the big boys.
The G5s and the globals for the big boys.
Probably 2 people to a plane, printing up a carbon footprint that whoever's watching this, couldn't imagine in their lifetimes. But, you're the one.
But you could buy the carbon offsets for the flights themselves. You can do that. As a matter of fact, it is literally that model that keeps Tesla afloat.
Ones that need to stop. You're the ones that can't do any of these things. They want to implement these rules. They want to become a de facto.
Oh my God! Fucking stop with the diatribe. I don't care. Is he? Oh my God! He interviews his own fucking girlfriend, or does she interview him? Is this like a Ted Cruz fucking thing? Oh my God! Stop with the marzipan. I have to believe there are ways to do filler tastefully. I have to.
Yes, because do you think I could pay someone to post the crap that I stick up there? But, maybe we'll have to do memes of the week, because the reality is, honestly, I think humor, a picture says 1,000 words. I think we can drive home some of the narrative and the points with these things.
Yes, a picture says 1,000 words. So why don't I just post some memes and I don't have to do a whole fucking hour-and-a-half podcast that no one is going to watch?
Maybe some of the ones that I know I can't actually post on other platforms. I'd love to.
You mean the ones you steal from other people? This motherfucker doesn't make up his own memes.
To be able to do that, but I know what happens. I've been, fact-checked for having an opinion.
No, you haven't. No one ever fact-checks a fucking opinion. Nobody. The only time people would fact-check your opinion is if they know for a fact you have an alternate opinion.
I've been thrown off platforms for being right eventually, knowing that I was right because I was actually in the room, but that wasn't what the narrative was saying.
Again, citation needed.
I'm
not going to be able to get through this to where she fucking comes on the show.
Never ends. We do still.
Yeah, just like this fucking podcast opening episode. Jesus.
Have to engage there. We can't just cede that battlefield to the other side. But
no, never give up the power of the meme. Never be afraid to be a meme lord when you've got a chance to meme your way out of as an adult would do. Fucking, why don't you just GIF? Why even bother?
I want to make sure that we can also get to that next level. So hopefully this.
Totally. I feel like I'm already at the next level, or the 4th level of hell, I think.
Here on Rumble, on Locals. Hopefully that can be the place that we do that. So with that,
You are doing it there, dummy. Do it.
I'm going to bring in my boss, Kimberly.
Kimberly.
Thank you, baby.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you, baby.
Was that okay?
I absolutely love it.
It was like an hour rant.
All right. She's quiet. Why is she quiet? Because his fucking mic that was pointed at his fucking head is not the one that was on. They've had the shotgun, like I said, on the camera on it, and they haven't brought hers up yet. Look, again, I'm here doing this show by my fucking self. I made these graphics. I made these titles. I added the little things like the tip jar. I made the Venmo and the little square around it, and the shadow that comes off. He's just at the Locals fucking office because Dave Rubin let them come over there. Motherfucker. Oh, you think you see a lapel mic on his jacket? Yeah, I feel like it's a shotgun. But either way, hers is off. Listen to this.
The place that we do that. So with that, I'm going to bring in my boss, Kimberly. Thank you, baby.
You're doing a great job.
Was that okay?
I absolutely love it.
It was like an hour rant, but like.
This is what you
Yeah, we're hearing her voice from his lapel mic.
do at home, and now everyone gets to see how I live.
Well, no, but
In darkness in front of giant logos while your husband talks to fucking no one.
listen, again, I said it earlier. I think it's so important.
Yeah, but repeat it because no one was listening.
Like, we actually need to engage, in this.
Wait. Somebody tried to bring the audio up. They don't know why the mic is down. And instead of wearing a fucking pair of headphones, they just started turning shit up, and there's like speakers. So listen to this. Listen to the echo.
Everyone gets to see how I live.
Well, no, but listen, again, I said it earlier. I think it's so important. Like, we actually need to engage, in this conversation. This, hey, it doesn't matter. I don't really follow politics. That's great. You're going to wake up one day. You're going to live in communist China.
Again, that's what you're just going to fall asleep. You're going to wake up in communist China. And we need to discuss this, because if we don't discuss it, you're going to just wake up in fucking communist China. Because it's like, and we talk about this all the time. And just like at home, my mic is on and your mic is off.
We're basically getting there.
It's not, and by the way, it's not reverb. It's not the sound of the room. Somebody's fucking speaker is turned up at a table. And again, if I run into problems and I end up having to fix them because I'm messing with software or a piece of hardware, and that's just on me, okay? I'm doing my best here. But when they've got a fucking crew. Do you think Don or Kimberly brought this fucking plant in? No.
You've heard me complain about this one a bunch, and
the echo? You're complaining about that part of it?
Actually believe it, and I wish I didn't, because before we got into politics, even sort of functioning at the high level where we did.
Yeah, you totally functioned at a high level in politics. You mean the part where she got paid to speak on January 6th and you didn't, and she lost like 3 fucking friends?
I sort of always believed all the tenets of, American freedom, and you can do. Honestly, so much of that is bullshit.
There you go. That's what it is. Don Jr. shit talks America. Because you can't offer unsolicited medical advice, or your father as president can't direct violence towards other people, because as president, people will take him more seriously than they do the average citizen. And you cannot defame or libel someone, which you thought apparently you could get away with. And in many ways you could, because as the third generation rich kid fuck you were when your dad was on The Apprentice, people took it with a grain of salt. But once your dad's president and he can order drone strikes, people get a little fucking nervous. What is he saying? Nobody fucking knows.
It's controlled by others. They want you to believe that you have that freedom. Maybe you can do it.
I would like to remind you that this is the quality. A billionaire's fucking son. Do you have any idea what I could do with just the fucking cast-off money that these assholes have laying around production-wise? Are you out of your fucking mind?
And maybe, a guy like me can get away with a little bit more because I've already...
You can't. You cannot. A guy like you cannot get away with having a fucking beside one fern cable access show on fucking locals.
Created a large enough platform, but for the average person...
Created a large enough platform. Motherfucker, you don't even have a platform big enough for 3 chairs.
They've made it so hard to be able to get that voice out. And that's...
But there's been an erosion of that over time.
Oh, it's even better. And by the way, she's not... Look, I sometimes will have an echo when I'm bringing somebody in as a guest from another place. She's right there in the fucking room. This is awful. This is fucking beautiful and awful.
I mean, we certainly saw when you see the juxtaposition of what we had, quite frankly, under President Trump, great presidents like Reagan, and what's happened to this country, and in such rapid order and succession. You never thought that it would go this far, this quickly, that now we have to fight for just basic rights. We have to fight for our daughters to be able to play sports and have, an equal, level playing field. Instead
hey, they fixed it. There you go.
Somebody's
like, there's a fucking echo. There's a fucking thing. Right.
Steal it from them.
Baby, I got to put this on pause.
They turned his mic off.
It went live, but no, I got on the logo. So guys, check.
Jesus Christ. And then they flop the other mic. This is fucking torture. This is so fucking bad. Check your shit. Again, partly the stuff that I run into when I'm doing my show and the difficulties that I have are because I'm building this race car in the middle of a race. So I've been fucking changing the tires and replacing the headlights and fixing gaskets in the middle of the fucking race. That's not what this is. This is their debut goddamn show. They just a couple mics, couple chairs, fucking locals. That's how people know to find it. I'll put some notes down. What could be easier? I've seen other people be interesting. I can be interesting. The ego involved in this bullshit is, fucking. And the worst thing is they got to be out of there by the time the 8th grade AV club gets in.
Check and subscribe to the Locals platform. That's where we'll be able to interact, do a lot of the Q&A. So I'm actually just reading some of the comments from there right
You sound terrible. This is awesome, but you suck.
now. So definitely, like and subscribe to that. We'll do a bunch on Rumble as well, but the idea is to try to get as much sort of immersion in this. So maybe I kind of like the fish tank story because, Kim saved the weekend. It's not by the way, it's not a lesson I want to sort of give the kids, which is if they throw enough of a tantrum, they're actually going to win because it doesn't seem to work, but it does seem to work for Democrats. So, I think I've done a pretty...
Oh my God, just this. Like, I could scream at my children, but I wish I could scream at Democrats. This is fucking torture. Like, until this motherfucker starts making clips, there is no reason to go back to that trough. Oh my God, what a waste of time. Like, I don't know why they don't just call this fucking show Little Spats between Don and Kim. And again, Kimberly Guilfoyle, used to be married to Gavin Newsom and used to look relatively normal. Could have aged gracefully, I presume. But, wow. Wow, that's bad. Don Jr.'s inaugural episode of Triggered. One-word review, sucked. Oh my God. And again, what do you need? Jesus Christ. Like, I get it when, when I've got comedy friends who like go, we're going to start a podcast. And they're like, I don't know. They call me and they're like, hey man, what gear should I get? And I'm like, I'll run people through it. Do it all the time. Glad to do it. I'm not going to do it for them because fuck them. But I can talk you through it. I can get you all set up because I've been through it. I've chosen the right gear and the wrong gear enough times where I'm like, okay, this is the way you want to go. But at that level, they should have a guy who does like what I do as a business. Going, it's podcasts or us. We'll get you hooked up with all this stuff, and we'll have one of our guys run it. Audio will be perfect. Off you go. He's like $125 an hour for 2 hours. Like that. There are people that do that. You can get a fucking engineer who works at a rock club or a comedy club to come in and do your fucking podcast for like $35, and they know what the fuck they're doing. This is just pathetic. I don't even know. And, by the way, I would like to everybody to notice, 58 minutes in, he brings her in, and there's still fucking 40 minutes left in that show. And again, this is the son of the dude who best people, best words. Rich, best life. I had a great life. That's what his dad says all the time. But, access to all the greatest things. All around the richest and classiest people. Honest to God, like the fact that they do this stuff on the cheap is more of an insult to the people they consider, viewers. This goes to that like minimum viable product idea that like tech firms do, which is like you never wait until you have the perfect Galaxy phone, from Android. You just put out the best one you can this year with the least amount of problems. And then the next year we'll fix some of that shit. And when the year after that, we'll make it better. And the year after that. But this is the minimum viable product we can put out at this time, which it still meets the standards that we have, but no more. Because this is as much as people need. People don't know they need these other features, and they're not right yet, so we'll work them in. Doing a fucking podcast is a well-oiled machine at this fucking part. And look at this. Look at this shit. The fuck? He didn't even have his own goddamn logo up. It's just the locals thing because it's at one of their spaces. I honest to God, I don't even know. I mean, obviously we jumped through stuff, but I don't know what the fuck this show is for. You? Why? He spent a half hour at the top explaining, his unique perspective and the necessity of this. No. This is fucking terrible. By the way, thank you, Brian and Melissa. Thank you for the super chats. And James and Bill Deacon, thanks for becoming a member. Larry, thank you for the super chat. It boils down to just say it so, and we're dumb enough to buy it. Kills me. Personally love the show. Oh, thank you. You would think Billionaire's Son would have a multimedia console. Exactly. Or somebody would. For fuck's sake. I'm just amazed. I'm it's embarrassing to me. You guys know that I've dug in on a couple things, and I think it's grotesque. I thought it was grotesque. I used to think it was gross when Brannon House, the guy who runs Mike Lindell's Lindell TV, that he was picking Mike Pillow's pocket and obviously skimming because the place looks like shit. It's just low-res garbage. And then I stopped giving a fuck because Mike Pillow is a genuinely bad person. That said, at least fucking fake it well. Yeah. I cannot wait until they start pulling clips from that fucking show because it's going to be ass. It already is. But it's going to be specifically, it's going to be just an ongoing media travesty. By the way, you're watching House Parks Mega Worldwide. Hi, everybody. Hi, chat room. Hello. Thank you guys for being here. His dad had the nuclear football. Doesn't anymore, though. And he never will again. A real pro would want to be sure all the tech was working ahead of time right now. I know. Well, yeah, thanks, Wes. I get it. But a real pro who's launching a show because people just genuinely want... Like, when I started this show, I didn't know it was going to be an ongoing concern. I just started this because people were miserable. We were all in lockdown, and I was like, it's going to be okay, and I just want people to, feel like there's a future coming, that they don't think the world is going to end and be all miserable. So I was like, I think I can contribute. That's why I started the show. Meanwhile, this motherfucker's like, people want to hear every word that comes out of Don Jr.'s mouth because Don Jr., Don's the guys, Don's the we need to do what I do in 3 minutes long form, which is not even something Kimberly believes. So I honestly, hold on. I gotta check something real quick. And then we will move on to our next clip. We're doing it right now. Yeah, we got about 15 minutes left. Let's see if this, I don't know why this guy is being such a jerk. Nope. Okay, hold on. That's what it is. Fix this real quick. I don't know why. Some days it's smooth and other days it isn't. I don't understand why. It's just very strange to me. Hey, man, look. Y'all fucking say what you want, but I'm here to tell you, man, I am a huge fan of that Don Jr. Triggered podcast. That is must-see VD as far as I'm concerned. That is a show you want. I already committed that episode to memory. You don't even know. You bugged out early. You don't know. You should see the dance that Kimberly did at the end. And then they did this thing where it's, they talk politics and news and all that shit. And then it'd make it real interesting. I fell asleep during part of that. But at the very end, they bring it on home. They bring it down to earth. And Kimberly has her Botox person come in and filler person. And they do Don Jr.'s face at the tail end of the show. And at the end of it, he looks like he was stung by a jellyfish right in the eyeball. But I will say his voice lowers temporarily. I think it was the muscle relaxants they had to put into his throat so that he wouldn't suffocate. But I've never seen any more moving video or film in my fucking life than them doing CPR on him when he doesn't need it. It was erotic, it was gross, it was motivational, and it was demotivating at the same time. And what channel is that? He's on Rumble. He don't need to be anywhere else. That's plenty. Y'all can't find it, you don't deserve to watch it. It's called Triggered, and it's named after a horse that Kimberly met. Not the original, obviously. One of the great grandkids. But the important thing is that some of y'all, you got to understand. Oh, goddamn, there's a lot of people talking in here. Hello. Hey, chat room. Look at you fellers. Shit. Yeah, it's not on Bumble. That's that lesbian website they won't let me on. Yeah, it was erotically gross. That is such a great way of putting it, Oh, it's, there's so many unanswered questions from episode 1. I can't wait for episode 2. I hear tell that in episode 2, Don Sr. comes on, and there's a moment where he goes, Junior, I ain't your father. And Don goes, no! And then he goes, wait, actually, I'm free. And then he starts acting totally different. He stops being a prick. I don't like him anymore. If that's true, I don't want to see it. I feel fucking let down by that whole thing. Love you too. I'm not running with MTG. She can be my fucking chief of staff, if you know what I'm saying. Hey, yo! Woohoo! Come on now. All right, I got to get out of here. We ain't got that much time. Cletus, what the fuck are you talking about? Ficus, that's my name. My name is Ficus. Get used to it. People tell you. Fix that person up, man. Here we go. All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Don't forget to give a thumbs up, like, support the show. Oh, my God. So many people in the chat today. It's crazy. It's such there's so much. There's so many of you guys. Thank you so much. Give a thumbs up. Support the show. And unless you are a troll, in which case, please give a thumbs down and write something awful in the comment section down below later in the video. Not anything that will get erased because you're using racial epithets or you're being a direct bigot. Just something general, stupid, like the whole has-been thing or something. Or call me a C-list celebrity, but then don't forget to mention that you think all A-list celebrities are baby-eating pedophiles, so that I can know that I don't know why C-list isn't a compliment then. It's always the whole thing. Now, I have something. Oh, yeah. Can we dip into something stupid for a second? Oh, God. Jimmy Dore is an idiot when it comes to Ukraine especially. He's gross, rape apologist, pro-Wagner group, whole deal. Apparently thinks that because Ukraine's a Nazi country with a Jewish president. It's very strange. Odd thing. But I thought when I saw this one that it... look at the title. The end of the U.S. dollar is here. Honest to God, I thought this was a fucking rerun. Jimmy Dore is a former TYT person that they broomed at first, put him on his own. Thank you, Emergency Remedial Truth. That was pretty good trolling, but you have to go a little deeper than that. Something personal. Anyways, and not in the chat. You have to do it in the comment section. It's a lot. Don't worry about it. Anyways, after the show, when everything's too late. So, there are areas where I think, Jimmy kind of like pegs the meter on ignorance. This is about the U.S. dollar. What do you? He's talked about the petrodollar in the BRIC countries before, and judging from these pictures, I'm guessing. And by the way, the fact that you would root for these three guys over the U.S. in general, again, and I think that's Erdogan from Turkey back in the background. It's hard to tell. Is fucking gross. And what in the hell makes that progressive at all?
I got bad news if you are an American.
Yes, Jimmy is not an American because he thinks Americans are like the schmo, below working class, enslaved masses. And he's got a multi-million-dollar house in the Hollywood Hills. Oh, Business Insider. Saudi Crown Prince snubbed Biden's request to discuss the oil crisis brought about by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Report says, is it? I can't read when that is. Too blurry.
And because the petrodollar is going away.
Uh-oh, not the petrodollar. The petrodollar. Oh, dear. By the way, the petrodollar is a myth. Unless you want to consider that there's also a technology dollar and a grain dollar, and anybody that uses the US dollar as a reserve currency for fucking anything can attach their own product to the front of it.
Which means that the United States dollar, which is...
By the way, get out a legal pad and a pen, perhaps crayons and some toilet paper, because you're about to get schooled on economics by a young Jimmy Dore. Again, this one's 10 minutes long. We probably don't have time for all of it because it's, like I said, it feels like a rerun.
Is the reserve currency of the world, is probably going to go away.
Oh, so the world only runs on oil? Is that what you're saying? So basically there are two currencies in the world, the US dollar and oil, because that's what the petrodollar's for? Or why would it be the reserve currency of the world when you're not dealing with stuff that isn't, when you're dealing with stuff that isn't oil? Oh, right, because this is fucking dumb.
What does that mean? That means...
Please tell us.
...are bad news for our economy.
Oh, my God. It's bad news for our economy. It's terrible.
Like really bad news.
Really bad news. It's really bad. By the way, which Jimmy thinks is good news.
And they're doing it on purpose.
Okay, so Biden is trying to destroy the country and our monetary system based on oil, which would be something, by the way, the Howard Zinns and the left that, of past would clamor for, but somehow Jimmy's all of a sudden against it, probably because of his investment counselor's advice.
Like, what if you would think the president of the United States would want to keep the petrodollar going, but
why would I think that? Isn't he there to destroy the system and bring capitalism to its knees?
They're doing everything to break up that relationship. What is the petrodollar?
Okay, yeah. Tell us what the petrodollar is. It's a dollar that's worth $5. No, that would be the petrodollar.
The petrodollar is Saudi Arabia is the biggest exporter of oil in the world. So we made a deal with them back in the 70s that said you can use our military
no, you can't.
Anywhere you want in the world.
No, you cannot. You cannot. That we have not been renting the U.S. military to the fucking Saudis in exchange for anything. We'll give them security support, but that if they wanted to fucking attack Israel, we're like, yeah, cool, long as you keep those sweet petrodollars rolling.
But what will charge you for that is you have to make sure whenever someone buys oil from you, they have to buy it in U.S. dollars. So that means...
So I know, I understand what you're saying. So all the other countries, including Venezuela, which has the largest oil reserves in the world, they're not going to use it. This is just a deal between the U.S. and the Saudis. It's 1-to-1, and that's the existence of it. Gotcha.
Anybody who bought Italy, whether it's Brazil, whether it's Africa, Australia, no matter Iceland, if they bought
fucking Iceland
oil from Saudi Arabia, they had to first convert their currency into U.S. dollars, which meant that
really? So the Saudis didn't trust the Iraqi dinar or the Icelandic kronar, or
everybody around the world used the United States dollar as the reserve currency. So everybody trades with dollars. So that keeps our...
Plus, they buy other stuff because while you got the U.S. dollars,
that's
you
right.
might as well get all your stuff.
So they do that.
Yeah, they buy everything in the U.S. dollar. It's not really a petrodollar. Way to fuck up the whole thing, Kurt. Are you telling us it's not a petrodollar? It's just the most reliable reserve currency in the world, and everybody trusts it more than they trust the other bigger currencies? And why the fuck would you try to do exchanges based on 19 different... God damn it.
Sounds like they use it for everything.
Yeah. So it's everything is petroleum at this point. I mean, what doesn't? I mean, if you think about it, everything's plastic, including grain.
Right. So it's like the international trade currency.
Yeah.
It's the reserve currency of the world. Yeah, it's why it's not a petrodollar. It's why it's for fucking everything.
It's the world reserve.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't like. Yeah, it's the reserve currency that the world uses most frequently. And not the petrodollar, because petroleum-based countries use it to sell their wares worldwide. Everybody does. You see? All right.
So that's going to go away because...
Yeah, it's going to go away.
Because what we're doing in Ukraine and other places and trying to force an economic hurt on Russia and China is...
So the petrodollar's going away because we're trying to hurt Russia and China. Okay.
It's forcing places like Saudi Arabia to abandon the petrodollar idea, which will hurt us a lot.
Oh, goodness. Especially since the Saudis hit peak oil about 8 years ago and are cash poor and are now trying to convert their entire fucking economy into the Middle Eastern tourist colony that they know that's their only shot, because they have Mecca and Medina, and they're going to build this fucking city that's a line through the whole desert, and they've been throwing money at Dubai and places like that, because when they run out of money, the only thing that's going to bring people there is international criminal trade, the ability for AI to have citizenship there that they can tax at 100% so they can set up fucking crypto mining farms, which that worked out really well.
Saudi prince snubbed Biden's request.
The Saudi prince? Say it isn't so. Not the prince. Which prince are we talking about? Who?
Is forcing places like Saudi Arabia to abandon the petrodollar idea.
Oh, why are we doing that? That's mean to Saudi Arabia.
Yep. Which will hurt us a lot. Saudi prince snubbed Biden's request to discuss the...
Oh my God, not the Saudi prince. Who didn't see that coming? Who didn't let the prince say what he was going to say, and do what he was going to do when he was crincing about? It's so sad when the
oil crisis brought about by Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Report says.
This is from March 9th of 2022. And then...
From March of last year. Yeah, that's why this feels like a fucking rerun.
This is what happened.
And yes, Cuttison, Saudi Arabia is running out of oil. Right. Both of them are fucking awful. Apparently, Jimmy is very upset that that the U.S. might no longer be in business with those two murderous fucks. And by the way, they're only doing that because they both were at like a rape farm the night before, and it was just like, buddy, last night, so cool.
They're getting along.
And
then this happened.
Saudi invites China's president to relation from Memo, the Middle East Monitor. Okay. By the way, that didn't work out the way he thought it did. But
Saudi invites China's President Xi as relations with Washington remain soured.
Who gives a fuck?
What?
The U.S. is we've been relatively energy independent. We use a lot more oil than we lose. We use about 2 million barrels more oil than we produce in the country. As refineries come back online to pre-COVID levels, and as the amount of oil that we have in the in country exceeds what we need because of demand destruction in the United States, because we've actually hit. Hold on. May I share something with you? This is right. Hold on. This is something that will never factor in to Jimmy's thinking. Let's see. Yeah. The price of gas is going to go up in the future because we have hit peak gasoline. Americans are facing the threat of more production crunches and price spikes as the fuel industry risks moving on from gasoline more quickly than consumers. Read that again. As the fuel industry moves on from gasoline more quickly than consumers. That's on a page, Bloomberg. What is the greenest electric car in America? They have a whole breakdown. Yes, the U.S. is destroying demand for fossil fuels at an accelerating clip.
Hey, BRICS.
And this is where, oh, please. This is the same shit we talked about last time. Please let them try.
Challenges the U.S. dollar dominance. Saudi considers selling oil in other currencies.
Oh dear God. They're considering it. Oh my gosh. Not considerations.
Multipolar economic order. So this is the kind of crazy stuff people thought Trump would do. And of course, it's being done by Joe Biden.
Also, first of all, no one thought Trump would ever do this. Secondly, the fact that, quote, they're doing this because Biden won't play nice with them or gargle their balls the way Trump did is the effect of America severing itself from certain quarters of the global order because they no longer serve us both financially and ethically. The interesting thing is that because of these assholes that are running these places right fucking now, we can do both at the same time. There were times when, because of our economic needs, we had to bend over backwards ethically with these folks. That's gone now.
And the Wall Street fossil fuel puppets.
The Wall Street fossil fuel puppets and Joe Biden are trying to end Saudi Arabia's reliance on the U.S. dollar for...
So Trump didn't do this.
Yes, we know. Trump couldn't do this. Also, it's a good thing. Because if we're not financially reliant on Saudi Arabia to use our currency back and forth, we base the worth of our currency not on the exchanges with one fucking murderous dictator family that tacitly controls the large swaths of the Middle East because we've been backing them for a time. We stopped backing those fuckers. They're in deep shit. And you know what? Fuck them.
Didn't wreck everything for the United States. It's Joe Biden and the Democrats that are doing this.
Okay, first of all, this is not wrecking everything for the United States. This is just, I don't even know what the fuck he's selling. Because this would make sense if this was like Kudlow and on a drinking podcast with, I don't know, Glenn Beck. It would make sense because they'd be bitching about their own investments in oil and gas and how the Green New Deal and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, OPEC, not Biden. Exactly. This is all he's selling is Biden equals bad. I know. I don't even. Here's the thing. A lot of times you can tell, besides the fact that Biden equals bad, America bad, that fucking Jimmy's normally selling. Usually you can find some sort of train of thought in it. This is gibberish.
And the deep state.
Okay, well then, you know what? I'm sorry. That spackles all the hole in the argument. Deep state. Why didn't you say so? I didn't realize the deep state was involved. And deep state that is the deep state that is puppeting Joe Biden, but also controlled by Joe Biden and in lockstep with Joe Biden and the Saudis who are against. So the deep state is against being in business with Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, and Mohammed bin Salman. Fuck, you sold me on it, Jimmy. The deep state sound like a bunch of swell fellas.
That's what they're doing. And they're doing it right out in the open, and no one seems to care.
No, it's not that they don't care. It's, Jimmy, they don't know what the fuck you're talking about any more than you do.
By the way, this photo explains more about the Ukraine war than a million Ukraine flag tweets combined. Right?
Kurt wrote that for him.
Right. So there's the president of Brazil, president of Russia, president.
No, that's not the president of Brazil. That's Modi. That's the Indian prime minister, you dumb fuck.
Of China.
And he's the chairman of the Communist Party. They stop calling him the fucking president. He wasn't elected. Presidents preside because they were elected.
I don't know who this is. Let's see. I don't know
He's never even looked at this. This was one of the African presidents.
who that is either. But those. So
I don't even know who that is. Some chick. Why bother? You only need to know two. Putin and Xi Jinping. They're the good guys. Fuck America. Please continue.
South
right?
Africa?
it's called BRICS. The international economic system had been dominated for decades by the United.
This was written by Geopolitical Economy magazine, and it had a I cut out a piece of this and put it on the thing.
United States. But this financial architecture is rapidly fracturing with the creation of new institutions in the global South.
Oh my God! Not the global South. Great. Now it's a new confederacy.
The BRICS bloc of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa is working to develop a fairer system of monetary exchange.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. And good fucking luck. Find a fairer system. Which one of those countries is going to say, hey guys, I think it should be my country's. We're all going to do it in the yuan, right? No, we're gonna do it in the rupee. No, we're gonna do it in the ruble. Well, we've got to obviously come together and come up with one. If we're gonna have a reserve currency, it's got to be one of us. And I mean, obviously, Russia's doing bang up, but China. I mean, obviously, the yuan is. Hold on. Whoops, I could type. Just assume that, let's see. Of all the countries in the BRICS, China's doing the best. Oh, shit. With its population declining, China's period of rapid growth is likely over. How it copes is critical for the world as it crashes. But at least the wealthy are doing okay. Exodus of wealthy Chinese accelerates with the end of COVID-0. Sorry, hold on one second. You know what I mean? They should use the yuan. This is fun. I don't know how Jimmy feels about this. China Xi wants to use capitalism to save communism. Biden West must not take the bait. The Biden in the West, you mean investors who, like Ray Dalio, who don't give a rat fuck who dies if they can make money. Let's see. But the economists will have something. But at least, you know what I mean? I think it was, who was it? I think it was Rodney Dangerfield, Caddyshack, who said, if you own anything but real estate, you own a popcorn fart. Hold on. Somebody step on a duck, right? That's, so luckily the Chinese real estate market is doing fantastic. Oh, shit. Well, at the very least, at least the Russian economy is doing great. Obviously, let's see. Let's see. This is a good one. And this one ties together. This is from oilprice.com. This is a good name. This is something Jimmy can get behind, because he's a peace neck, right? He's a peace-loving dude. Jesus Christ, move over here. There you go. Russia races to ramp up arms production, even if it cripples its economy. It's great. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? And so Jimmy wants you to believe that Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa are all going to sit around a table, and the leaders of each of those countries is going to sign off on one of the other leaders of those countries getting all the financial benefits of being the new reserve currency. Or they're going to form their own digital currency. We've dealt with this before. This is the same shit from last year. And their digital currency, wait for it, how are you establish a digital currency's worth? Well, if you establish it based on the worth of the yuan, then the yuan is a protected currency. And so the rest of those countries can't have that. If you do it with Brazil, same thing. If you do it with Russia, same thing. They all benefit if you tag the digital currency to one of their currencies. So they want to, wait for it, peg it to the US dollar. So that they can basically have digital counterfeit funds to sell things between each other. And if the US dollar tanks, so does their crypto fucking brick currency. It's so goddamn dumb.
To challenge the dominance of the U.S. dollar. Saudi Arabia publicly confirmed that it is considering selling its oil in other currencies. China's President Xi Jinping said that Beijing will buy energy from the Persian Gulf states in its own currency, the renminbi.
Renminbi, people's currency. Renminbi. It's the renminbi. I like renminbi's second record.
Said Beijing will buy energy from the Persian Gulf state
renminbi
in its own currency.
Mm-hmm.
The renminbi.
The renminbi. And Kurt's gonna salvage him.
Minbi?
You know what? I looked it up 4 times today on how to
Renminbi. Look at it. You literally can't read it any other way. Renminbi. Renminbi. Renminbi, the people's currency. Yuan. Just say fucking yuan, stupid. There's a guy I watch who does economic blogs and on vlogs online and talking about like the Russian, the Chinese economy and the Saudi economy and those kind of things. And he says yan when he says yuan because he's British. And it drives me fucking crazy. Renminbi.
In its own currency.
The renminbi. Do.
The renminbi.
Shit.
Minbi?
You know what? I looked it up 4 times today on how to say it. I thought I memorized it, and I didn't.
You don't have to memorize it, motherfucker. It's written. Read it as it's renminbi. All right. It's like they put the Chinese character in front of him and he had to memorize the word for it. Shit.
I thought they had the won or the yuan.
No, that is so renminbi, whatever that word is.
Oh shit.
That's what they're that's what they're called. A yuan is like a denomination of their money.
Oh.
Like the U.S. currency is in dollars, and a dollar is a form of dollars. Why don't you just say qian at this point? God damn, this is dumb.
Ooh,
right?
Oh no! They're interchangeable. Yuan and renminbi are interchangeable. The yuan, they call it the yuan, but they also say the renminbi. That inside the country, they say renminbi because it's the people's currency and it's communist talk. They also say yuan, and they also say, what they say is qian in terms of money. Because one of the things you memorize when you're over there is, well, mei qian, I don't have any money. Because you don't want to buy anything when you're in a shop, so everybody leaves you alone. Means you don't have any money with you. You don't have any of their money. Well, mei need a qian. I don't have any of your money.
Renminbi is the
that's their monetary. That's their money is called that, and then the yuan, which is spelled yuan, that's like a denomination of their money, right? So that's
no, it isn't. No, I mean, Talk about a distinction without a difference. But look, it's nice to watch Kurt learning something wrong right in front of our eyes. Yes, like dollar, money, and currency are all different words in English. The problem is, it's the difference between dollar and buck. Or dollar and a single. Or a dollar, it's more like dollar and buck.
It's like a pound, right?
No, because the pound and a pound are the same word used as both the title of the currency and the denomination. You fucking dolt.
Prominent economist Zoltan Pozar of the Swiss investment bank Credit Suisse has
Credit Suisse. Sweezy Jefferson? I'm not familiar. Fuck me. Does he? All right. For those of you that don't know, these aren't these little pieces right over here. Jimmy pulls these, he copies the text and puts it in Keynote or sends it to somebody and they do a Keynote for him so he can pop these things up on his screen when he's talking about stuff. This is not how it is in the article. When I put something up, as you know, I put the whole article up and we scroll through it. Oh, fuck me. Sweezy. And by the way, notice how I don't think Kurt jumped in to save him from Sweezy.
Nomination of their money, right? So that's like a pound.
No, it isn't. It's just, they're both a pound. They're both the same thing.
Prominent economist Zoltan Pozar of the Swiss investment bank Credit Suisse has observed that the unipolar...
Yeah, Kurt did not... Kurt did not jump in and save him from Credit Suisse. It's Credit Suisse, dumb fuck. You hear it all the time. Patrick Swayze. I miss Patrick Swayze. That's sad. All right. I thought we were going to get out of this video early just because it was going to be tired and feel like a rerun. But he's found new ways of making this stupid argument dumber. Stupid and dumb are often words used. Stupid is the concept, and dumb is the denomination that Jimmy uses.
Era of U.S. hegemony is quickly being replaced with a new multipolar order of one world, two systems.
Oh my God. Thank you for holding up two, because most of us don't know how denominations work. And by the way, don't think for a second that he's holding that up to mean peace, because he's rooting for the Wagner rape squad.
China is proactively writing a fresh set of rules and creating a new type of globalization. Posner wrote, describing how this...
Suddenly Poser's name has an N in it, all of a sudden.
Transition threatens the exorbitant privilege that the dollar holds as the international reserve currency.
Oh yeah, totally threatened. Absolutely. Yeah. Good luck. At least the yuan is steady and can't be actively manipulated specifically by the CCP.
South Africa's foreign minister, Naledi Pandor, told Russia's state media outlet Sputnik that the BRICS bloc is working to develop a fairer system of monetary exchange to weaken the dominance of the dollar.
Yeah, well, and it's apparently they're done. It's already happened because it's over. That's what the title said. And how much progress have they made since they've been yammering about this last year? Oh, none. And what were they thinking of doing? A cryptocurrency pegged to the US dollar? Great, brilliant plan. Also, what's happened to crypto since March of last year?
Pandor's comments were ignored by Western media outlets, but widely reported in the Indian press.
Okay.
Of course, nobody talks about this in the corporate media because they don't want you to talk about it, because they don't want you to know what the petrodollar is, because they don't want you sniffing it out.
Did he just say petrol dollar? At this point, I mean, if you say petrol, yeah, I can see that. Rip dollar, rip Portland. Absolutely. Well, that was our mistake. The U.S. put all of our dollars in Portland, and then Portland got burned to the ground, and now there's none left.
That's why we're doing warmongering in Yemen and help.
Wait. Why would we be doing, quote, warmongering in Yemen? Why wouldn't we pull out of doing warmongering in Yemen? Maybe it's our lack of support for what the Saudis were doing in their engagement with Yemen, because the Saudis are for that war. So why would they be footsying with other countries and fucking around with this if we weren't all in with them on? Oh God.
Helping committed genocide and all the other stuff we're doing.
They better not.
Yeah, just genocide. Yeah, because that's what it is. Because Russia and China specifically get very upset at the idea of genocide and warmongering. They just don't like it. It just gives them the rumblies and the tumblies.
Threaten our exorbitant privilege.
They better not.
Look at Jimmy. They better not, because he's got money now.
The systems currently in place tend to privilege very wealthy countries and tend to be really a challenge for countries such as ourselves, which have to make payments in dollars, which cost much more in terms of our various currencies.
Because they're worth something. You know why something is worth a lot more? Is because it has more value.
Or continued. So I do think a fairer system has to be developed, and it's something we're discussing with the BRICS ministers and the economic sectors discussed. The South African foreign minister.
By the way, this is the same shit from last summer. He's just revisiting this. He must have gotten a big, like, this video must have really scored high with his regular viewers or the bot farms that in India that he buys into to watch his
also
shit.
Criticized the United States imposition of unilateral sanctions, which are illegal under international law.
Oh my God! If a country's committing genocide, can you imagine, if they'd have done this to Germany?
She told Sputnik
in the 30s?
We always have a problem with unilateral sanctions and their impact on many countries that fall outside a particular conflict. So we have indicated to our friends in the United States that we really want them to relook at this imposition of unilateral sanctions, which is often not very helpful as a strategy in resolving problems.
But I thought Russia was doing a lot better, Jimmy. You were telling us that the sanctions had no effect. If anything, they were helping Russia get stronger. Apparently, that didn't come across in the meeting that they had in fucking March, where things have obviously gotten a lot better for Russia and Ukraine since then, with the South African, because they're the S in BRICS, and they're the real big money.
The world's largest oil exporter, Saudi Arabia, has publicly acknowledged that it is considering selling its crude in other currencies, not just the U.S. dollar. That is the end of it for the United States.
This is I mean, he sounds so fucking hopeful. Hold on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There you go. Interestingly enough, right about the time he's talking about this comes up. Output from Saudi Arabia maxes at 13 million barrels a day and is declining going forward. That's what came out in July. That when Biden came and asked them to increase production, the reality is they simply did not have it. And the reason they export more than anybody else is because it's such a fucking tiny country. They don't run their country they don't burn oil in their refineries. They sell it because they have nothing else. Of course they're the biggest exporter. When's the last time you bought a Saudi fucking car or phone? They're in the same situation that Russia is in, or India for that matter. India's best export is the intellect of its people working in certain firms that, in other countries, high-tech firms. Their education and the number of people they have, that they just have a volume of people who are educated, who can go work in the tech industry and other, in finance and that kind of stuff, because they have that many people, they have that many more people who can go work in jobs. But again, you're not buying Indian products any more than you're buying a fucking South African car, for that fucking matter.
That's going to be the end of our 1,000 military bases across the world. We're going to go bankrupt as a.
Okay, first of all, it happens backwards. We pull our military bases up because we're not engaged in protecting the Saudi oil trade and the Chinese trade from pirates and all that kind of shit. You're on your fucking own. And the Navy will tend to the countries we have alliances with, instead of just making the entire world safe for trade. He's got it reversed, but I guess letters aren't the only thing he's flip-flopping today.
Country.
Not if we go to war.
We already kind of are, but we will.
No, we're not. At all. Like, not even fucking close.
Actually we don't have to feel the repercussions of that now because of the petrodollar. But when that goes away, we are going to feel it.
Imagine what the Saudis are going to feel when the vast majority of Western countries no longer run their cars, just consumer vehicles alone, on oil and gas. When they switch to electric, when the vast majority of people drive electric vehicles, chargeable electric vehicles, or long-run, nuclear diamond battery kind of vehicles. Imagine how Saudi Arabia is going to fare after that. Because again, you don't need like the Apple iPhone or any of its technology, or Microsoft or any of the technology that comes out of the United States, or Google, or fucking the infrastructure of Amazon, or fucking nuclear fusion for that fucking matter coming out of the United States. You don't need oil to make that happen. You don't need the Saudis for fucking any of that. Name one thing the Saudis sell that isn't oil. What happens when the U.S. and Western countries in particular, and this is definitely the strategy, stop relying on oil and gas for their consumer vehicles? Because we already have plenty of oil and gas to make jet fuel and run trains and use natural gas, for example, to run factories and smelting plants. What happens? What happens to Saudi Arabia's economy when the world no longer needs fossil fuel? Because eventually, one of two things is going to happen. We're either going to stop needing it from them, the Western world in general, is going to form a group together, which is already happening, and that's part of what's going on with Russia as well. Because lesson learned, if you don't have to be in bed with these people, you can fix shit and get away from it. Sever yourself from this slavery to this kind of the petroleum economy, and move towards a renewable economy where ideas and invention and the structure of value that you create through those things is the worth of your country, not we happen to be born on goo under our feet that you can set on fucking fire. What happens? I don't know. Ask Qatar. Ask Kuwait. What? They're going to build ships with what? And also, it's kind of wonderful to watch just how fucking dumb about all of this stuff Jimmy and Kurt are. This is amazing.
Saudi Finance Minister Mohammed Al-Jadaan told Bloomberg TV there are no issues with discussing how we settle our trade arrangements, whether it is in the U.S. dollar, whether it is in the euro, whether it's in the Saudi riyal.
And also, yes, there is. Do you see the essence in the basis of that statement, which is the fucking problem with the BRICS? Because is the euro one of the BRICS currencies? No, that's the European currency. That's the EU's currency. That's not what Brazil and Russia and India and China use, or South Africa. They all have their own. And the idea that, we'll trade them, but they're going to have to buy it in the Saudi riyal. Yeah, that's... I don't know why. Maybe he's right. This seems so smooth now that you put it that way.
There are no issues with discussing how we settle our trade arrangements, whether it is in the U.S. dollar, whether it is in the euro, whether it's in the Saudi riyal.
Renminbi. It's the renminbi at this point, I think.
In 1974, this is it. Saudi Arabia agreed to sell its crude.
This is where he first read this.
The dollar, blah, 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 blah. The petrodollar system helped undergird the status of the greenback as the global.
Undergird. As in support, create a foundation for, and as a substructure to raise up the dollar. Also, the petrodollar system that existed did not happen naturally. It was an act of will by the United States, and it required a lot of fucking effort. And it had to do with Bretton Woods. It wasn't just the fucking an agreement, a unilateral agreement we had with the fucking Saudis.
Global reserve currency after U.S. President Richard Nixon extended the convertibility of the dollar to gold in 1971. But the petrodollar now has direct challengers.
Oh, yes. Lots of them. It's always had lots of them. None of them have any legs.
The Wall Street Journal reported in March 2022 that Saudi Arabia was in active talks with Beijing to produce. We already said this. Blah, 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 blah. China is already Saudi Arabia's top trading partner, and Beijing, Riyadh, and the GCC pledged to deepen their multilateral trade.
Mm-hmm. Good luck.
These historic developments in the BRICS and Saudi Arabia are part of an international shift to a multipolar. So we know all this. Okay.
Yeah, it's all bullshit. Just get through it. Whatever. Here we go. CBDCs. This is going to be it.
Blah, blah, blah. We got all this.
Skip past it. The central bank digital currencies. That's the idea, is that the U.S. is going to form a CBDC, which is what Glenn Beck has been warning everybody about. And in response, which, by the way, they did a pilot program, and the Fed literally said, no, there's no need. It's stupid. It's a solution in search of a problem. We're fine.
We did it. We already did it. How many times do you want me to fucking say this?
Renminbi.
So there it is. Bloomberg is reporting it. The power of BRICS will go ahead with the joint. South Africa will go ahead with the joint naval exercises, including Russia and China.
Oh my God. You mean murderous dictators want to fucking murderous dictate together?
Operation Mosey, smoke, will take place from February 17th to the 26th. South Africa is set to welcome Russian warships despite every criticism.
Yes, because I think as Americans, we've always looked at South Africa as a place that's just kind of like runaway and full of fun. I mean, I'm sure Jimmy pines for the days before apartheid went away.
Joe Biden is fucking up the international United States order.
Which, by the way, you're against in some way. He's fucking up because Russia and South Africa are getting together? Oh no, we'll no longer have access to those sweet South African flat screens. Dear God, when will we get a solid Russian toaster ever again? I don't even know. Does he think past, the end of Kurt's fucking tailbone?
Ambassador of South Africa.
Yeah, doesn't Jimmy hate the PNAC? No, apparently he is fully on the side of PNAC. Because PNAC was trying to avoid this. And everybody else was like, fuck that. We don't need them. Being in bed with them gives them access to shit they never would have had in the first fucking place.
Africa is Russia Mazvukia Mark.
Oh, God. The ambassador of South Africa and Russia, Muzukile Makatuka, said
Joe Biden is fucking up the international United States order.
By the way, which again, he's supposed to be, like Jimmy allegedly was against, because fuck the U.S. and whatever, but now he's rich, so.
The ambassador of South Africa is Russia Mazvukia Markuta said that. Who the fuck knows?
It's the South African ambassador in Russia, not a Russian whatever.
That about 13 countries are interested in joining the BRICS.
Uh-huh. 13 countries, huh? What, Papua New Guinea? Burma?
Makuta added that 6 countries have already submitted formal applications for membership. It's over. And Joe Biden is driving American off the cliff.
Driving American off the cliff. Which American is it? You're an American. Maybe it's a Freudian slip. Jimmy thinks now that he's got money, Joe Biden's going to fuck up the whole thing.
So this was the stuff you thought Trump was going to do. Joe Biden's doing it.
Wait a minute. No, I never thought Trump would break up the world order based on our slavish need for Saudi petroleum in the world market. He's the last fucking person you would expect to do that.
They're wrecking your country. They're spending $100 billion. I said this on stage at the Flappers the other.
Uh-huh. Yes, and somebody came up and pointed out that you're a conspiratorial dickhead, and you screamed at them.
And I said, if there's...
This is going to be funny. He said it on stage at Flappers, so it's obviously going to be a winner.
If they're sending $100 billion to another country, it's because we care about them. I just don't understand why we don't send $100 billion to the United States.
Well, I think you just...
Our budget for the United States, the omnibus is just $1.7 trillion. $1.7 trillion U.S. budget from the last continuing resolution. I mean, from the omnibus. The newest budget, $1.7 trillion. Almost 2,000 billion.
Just answered your question.
And the people and the crowd went wild.
No, they didn't. They were like, is that a joke or are you just complaining? Because it's not a joke. That isn't an actual joke. Just for the record, that's just kind of a sardonic aside at best.
So regular people are catching on.
Are they? Regular people like Kurt, who just found out that the renminbi and the yuan are 2 totally different things that are actually the same, but sort of different.
Not just
and the renminbi is every renminbi is a yuan, but not every yuan is a renminbi, or vice versa.
Jimmy Dore show viewers, regular people,
not just Dilbert and the.
Wow! Oh, one of my fake fact checkers. You know how this show gets fake fact checked by people funded by Bill Gates and what have you. Mm. One of them was
because you're that fucking important.
At that show, and
this is the dude. That's Alan. Let's see. So let's see if I can find this. Yeah, Alan Duke. I'll show you this. He took this picture. He sent me this. He goes, I took this picture. I'll read you what he said because I don't want to he did at Flappers tonight, and guess who shows up? Jimmy act as stupid anti-vax and anti-Ukraine crap. Imagine his surprise when I introduced myself. He was not happy. He has ranted about me many times for flagging his disinformation. This photo is the moment just before I told him who I was. 2 seconds later, he was cursing and very upset. So sad. I told him I was there because I was hoping to see Hal Sparks.
And came up to me and took a picture and then told me who they were. Hey, I have the fact checked you on the blah blah blah. And I was like, you piece of shit. I gave you a picture before I knew who the fuck you were.
I gave you a picture. That you didn't deserve.
Then I told him, he's like, hey, I thought we were going to be friends. I'm like,
no, he thought it was going to be funny.
You're a piece of shit. Get the fuck away from me. Then my comedian friend, Michael Gilbert, walked up. He goes, who's this? I go, this is a piece of shit, Michael. Don't pay any attention to him.
He fact checks my show, and rather than answer it, I just call him a piece of shit and tell people not to talk to him, lest he tells them what a liar I am.
Hey, we're doing live stand.
Hey, we're doing live stand-up. That's why I got my comedy hat on. I got my big comedy hat on. If it wasn't for this hat, my ears would show. So that's how do I put this? This is it is January of 2023. And this was supposed to be the time leading up, if you watched any of the both right-wing media and Jimmy Dore show, there is no real difference, that Joe Biden would be destroyed as a candidate, gone. The Republicans would take over the House and drive him into like the inability to govern in any way, and broomed by the deep state, blah, blah. And the real result is that Don Jr. is stuck doing a fucking long form podcast, and Jimmy Dore is trying to explain to people how the BRICS countries are going to, this fucking rehash story from last summer, are going to eventually, maybe sometime, possibly get rid of the petrodollar, and it's over for the United States. Isn't that exciting? Also, he stopped, in this case, he stopped putting like, I used to have like stand up there, or we were doing stand up. Now there's no we anymore. It's just him by himself. Also, this little February 25th, this Two Roads place or whatever, it's this little theater on, I think it's on Tahunga or something in Burbank, like Studio City, North Hollywood. It's hard to say, in that kind of area or whatever. It's a really weird little black box theater. And I don't know why he's not doing, he went up on stage at Flappers with other people. He's no longer doing just Jimmy shows at Flappers. For whatever reason, he's either not welcome anymore, or they've got such a bad taste in their mouth about his show being there, or he always wants the Wednesday that I get. I'm confused. Is he a comedian? No, he is not. He says he does comedy. He is not a comedian. He basically goes up there and bitches like an old bigot on a porch. I'm in all fairness, I have not seen his act lately, so he might be attempting some actual jokes, but more than likely they are Kurt's jokes. Kurt is writing for him on the show. He does not make a distinction that they are Kurt's jokes in the clips anyways, so it wouldn't be surprising to me that he doesn't make that distinction when he's on fucking stage anyways. But ultimately, this is the state of, we're going to bring down the Democrats right now. That's it. That's the whole... Don Knotts was funny, I admit. Don Knotts was amazing. It was a squirrel. He means me? Oh, yes, I definitely do stand up. And I have to say, both Nerd Halen gigs, solid comedy. Hal gets crypto from Bill Gates. I do. It's true. He sends me I mine it for him using this adrenochrome machine that I built. Yeah. I burn the. Please, for the love of God, move on from Dore. So irrelevant. I agree. I think increasingly you are correct. This increasingly looks like a hard fade to me. There was a period where he was like, peak fuck around. But he's got 1 million followers on YouTube over, and then 154K on Rumble, where he's mostly moved to. And Aaron Mate fills in for him when he's away doing whatever the fuck. Sorry. When are you going to fight Van Halen? I will never fight another tribute band except on the hustings of talent. Close the door on Jimmy permanently. We might be nearing there in case anything stands out. But this one came up because it's so definitive, right? Most of this, he posts a bunch of shit all the time. But the end of the US dollar is here was the name of that video. And quite frankly, it might be just the end of the Jimmy Dore show. Because it's just so fucking dull. And by the way, I will say for the record that Alan Duke's telling of the story to me, this one right here, Alan's telling of the story right before this picture he tells me what happened, is exactly as Jimmy told it. It is exactly that. That was precisely what happened. So kudos to Alan for note, and Jimmy being still his ass so chapped about it that he had to bring it up. He's like extreme Christians trying to make the end times come, just the end. Yeah, he's basically like Jimmy Dore is basically like Lauren Boebert's husband's shriveled dick, hoping for the rapture but glad to be out at a bowling alley. I thought Jimmy Dore had 4 million subs. I think Russell has had 5 or something like that. Anyways, he's on. We look at him on Rumble because that's where he posts the clips mostly now. But anyways, much love to you guys. I'm gonna let you go and go rest my voice some because I can't be. I've been doing longer and longer shows, and I've been singing, and I should stop talking. But I love you guys, and it's fun, and I appreciate you being here. Sorry for the popping and crackling at the beginning of the show. I'm looking to remedy that in a permanent sense, mostly by shifting how I get guests onto the show, working on it. I'm exploring a bunch of different options, so that aren't Skype or Zoom because it's a pain in the ass. But I'm just know I'm doing my best over here by my lonesome. Much love to you. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. And in honor of TYT, I think it behooves me to remind everybody to that if you're ever presented with a choice that you believe is the lesser of two evils, choose less evil. It's that fucking simple. Don't just wish you didn't have to make a choice about it. No. Choose the lesser evil, move on, and start doing that. And eventually, you'll start tearing down into, hey, there's nothing really evil about this. There might be some mistakes, there might be some disagreement, but there's not any evil involved at all. And that'll be the moment when you realize someone's been bullshitting you, or you've been bullshitting yourself, that this was really about evil in the first place. You were just talking yourself out of activity because your own personal social inertia and your lack of giving a fuck because you were told that everything sucks, so why bother? For the record, get back up here. What are you doing? By childless dickheads like this one, who don't have. Where am I? Shit, I'm pushing my buttons and I'm going crazy. Okay, there we go. Who don't give a fuck about the future because it's all just nihilistic love for themselves. So, anyways, much love to you guys. I'll see you guys later. Take care of yourself. I'm sleepy. I slept 3 hours last night. Much love. See you later. Okay, talk to you tomorrow. And by the way, tomorrow's show, 4 p.m. It's an hour later. Remind everybody, you guys rule. Ta-da!